competition, and after today, we'll know 36 more men, women, and teams who will be headed to Carson in July. You are looking live at the Freeman Auditorium in San Antonio, Texas, where the South Central women are about to kick off Event 7. This will be one of 2 live regions that we'll be bringing to you this afternoon. Of course, the other one, NorCal. It's all coming up right now on the CrossFit Games Update Show. Hello, CrossFitters, and welcome to the live installment of the CrossFit Games Update Show. 6 events are down on week 2. There's 1 remaining. My name is Rory McKernan. I am happy and lucky to be joined by Nicole Christensen on the far side of the desk and Mr. Pat Sherwood. Guys, I can't believe that we're here. I can't believe we're live. We get to watch all this eye candy of CrossFit.
I'm already getting some wishes that I asked for yesterday come true. I wanted a hell of a race with the NorCal with the women, and Pacelli, of course, is running away with it. But Sakamoto and Caribou, they are making it a hell of a game up there. And then South Central men, I mean, our top 3, it's like a football team. I mean, one of them is a former football player, but those are some big boys occupying the top 3. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll eat my words a little bit. I said that I thought the Northern California men had it all wrapped up, those top 4 spots, but Pat Barber's sitting in a place that you could see him go either way. And again, I hope none of these athletes are counting themselves out sitting in 7th, 6th, 5th place, because it's wide open for that last event.
Yep, Spencer Hendel had a chance last weekend and it just slipped through his clutches, so Barber better hold tight.
Yeah, I think men's South Central, lots of drops, lots of jumps, and you said it, there's no cuts, and there's lots of opportunity for movement. I mean, you think we're going to see that kind of shift up, or they're pretty set?
Oh, I couldn't call it with all the information in the world at this point. I mean, especially across that region, we've just seen that men are going, dropping 40. Chase took 41 points in an event. Who knows if somebody's got that in their back pocket, for the last event. So
Event 7 strong for Barber. Now judging by what happened today, Event 7 men NorCal is going to be one of the most exciting races to watch. There's a lot on the table.
You guys laughed me out of the room earlier, but I'll ask the question again: are we too far along in CrossFit competition to be concerned about somebody not having rope climbs?
We damn well better not be.
But yeah, I think that's a nice idea. But no, I think we're going to see one weekend play itself out where we have an athlete in the top 3 or poised to be able to take a top 3 spot, and that rope climb really trips them up.
Great.
You got to know your history. Also, what happened to Rich? I mean, it cost him the big title. So people who should have rope climbs. It's just one person will be faster than the other one.
Yeah, I thought in Europe, I was like, oh, Lacey Kovacs doesn't have them. No, wait, he does have them, but he chooses not to use
fast. Yeah, fast.
So the first region that we will see live action from will be the South Central. It will be the women's final event. It's basically been the Jen Jones show, but in her wake, there's an extensive battle for the last positions to go to CrossFit Games. Let's check out how we got here.
San Antonio, Texas. Remember the outro and remember this woman's name. Jen Jones, who won the Mid-Atlantic region last year, is putting on a clinic in South Central. Her only loss on day 1 came in the opening event where Cassidy Lance beat Jones by 4 seconds to take first place in Jackie with a time of 6:22. It was the Jen Jones show from that point forward. She got the best of Lance in the overhead squats. Though Lance got 3 reps at 190, Jones was able to complete 1 at 195. Jones was also the only one in the region to complete all 30 burpee muscle-ups inside the 7-minute time cap. She snuck in with a final time of 6:58 for her second straight victory. Just behind her, Holly Mata kept the pressure on with a second-place finish, bagging 29 reps in the 7 minutes. Yesterday, Jen Jones continued to run away from the field. While no women in the region were able to complete the 100s inside the 25-minute time cap, Jones came the closest. She fell 8 reps short, but still managed her 3rd straight victory. 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games competitor Candice Ruiz had her charge of the leaderboard, winning her first event of the competition in Event 5. Ruiz stormed through the deadlifts and box jumps and grew to a time of 4:22. Jen Jones finished 4th, but heading into the final day, she's cruising towards a triple Carson, while 3 other women, separated by just 2 points, battle it out for the final 2 spots.
But then had to have open heart surgery. So Jen Jones, let's just take her and put her on an island. I even think that Cassidy is there with her, but that battle between Ruiz and Holly is crazy. They're separated by just a couple points.
Jen Jones has our undivided attention, right? So as a former 20-year gymnast, there's something there. All the gymnasts I know that now have turned CrossFitters are all a little bit insane. I mean, they train so hard for decades of their lives, 4 to 6 hours a day, and then when they're doing something extremely grueling with all the lights and cameras on them, they have to smile and look good the whole time. So that's exactly what she's doing down there. I mean, after 2 days, she had, what, a second, a first, and another first? Doesn't look like she has any holes in her game. And the only thing which raises an eyebrow is she's so dominant, but didn't finish the hundreds. That's kind of the only thing that I'm like, maybe there's something she could still be beaten at.
Yeah, we did talk to her a little bit though, and she said that wasn't her best event, although she did win it. So maybe she could actually finish it. Really, Cassie Lance stands out to me. She's sitting in second place, but over the past 3 years, she's really made it. I mean, it's pretty incredible. In 2011, she was 25th at regionals. In 2012, she was 14th, and now she's sitting in second place. A pretty incredible story of an athlete who obviously wants to get better every single year and is proving it. Then you look a little bit further down the leaderboard, and we've got Holly Matta and we've got Candice Ruiz going to battle it out for that third spot. There's 3 points that separate those two ladies. And do we know if Holly has rope climbs? I don't know.
But I bet that Ruiz does as a former Marine, and she's doing exactly what she needs to do to make this race interesting. She won event 5, that heavy deadlift, so maybe that's a predictor of her ability to pull a heavy squat clean.
Yeah, it's really a race between them for that last qualifying position, and it was interesting how this morning played out when they both did fairly poorly on that event. Let's check out the action. Jen Jones looking confident as she took the court, and she's ahead by a landslide at that point. But on the lunges, it was Cassidy Lance who was in the lead. She had a little bit of a brain fart here, thought that halfway was the finish line.
I mean, I don't know what happens. You know, your weird things happen to your head during competition when your heart's racing, but you should know where the finish line is. You know what I mean? That's driving your pace, driving, break the bar down.
And then here she does it again at the finish line. Look, here comes Jones, and Holly just got to finish this workout. Or
yeah,
Cassidy, pardon me.
I mean, this really stands out to me about Jen Jones. She was in a solid second place. She could have easily just kind of, rode out the clock and said, I'll hang on to my second place, but she kept going, and, it was just a tie, right? But 1 second could have given her a 1 and a 2, and that she didn't give up at any point.
Then you got the battle for third. You've got Holly and Candice both having trouble with the handstand push-ups. Remember, if Candice could have made her move here when Holly was doing poorly, but she also did poorly, came down to a race between those two women, and at the end of the day, they finished 13th and 14th overall in this heat, or overall in the event.
And this is an interesting thing that both women did poorly, and it actually helped them stay at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, the leaderboard stays the same after event number 6, but Ruiz did herself no favors. Ingrid Cantola pulls up close with a third-place finish in the event. I don't know if you guys know Ingrid very well, but in 2010, she cleaned up at the Open in Southern California, then had to have open heart surgery. But she was an athlete to watch back then. It's cool to see her, although it's in a different region, doing amazingly well.
Yeah.
She's got her work cut out for her, but Candice Ruiz is going to be my undivided attention on her. She's 3 points away from having a qualifying spot. She's got that mental toughness of the former Marine. She did well on event 5, and I think she's going to hit event 7 with reckless abandon. I think she's going to put on a hell of a show. It's all or nothing for her.
Yeah, the same poise that we saw in the deadlift box jump with her, where she was just on a mission to finish that workout. I think we're going to see the same thing out the gates on event 7.
So what an amazing, amazing event number 6 to watch. But event number 7, of course, is a 4-round workout. The women will start with 2 rope ascents, 15 feet. They'll run 100 feet across the stadium floor where a pull-up or a squat bar awaits them. They'll do squat cleans at 135 pounds for 4 reps. After 4 rounds have been completed, the workout is over. This one's been fast and furious in the other regions.
We started with a sprint with Jackie, and we're finishing with a sprint. 2 of the fastest workouts. Is going to be excitement from start to finish, and that 135 pounds, it can be troublesome for some ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. And last week we saw, the different cycle times of the athletes had a tremendous impact on how well they were able to hold on to those last couple rounds and then pull ahead. Athletes that went out the gates and linked them together, didn't do so well.
The women are in the starting blocks in the South Central region. They're ready to kick off the final event of workout number 7. Let's kick it live to the Freeman Coliseum, where Sean Woodland and Maddie Curley have the call.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, for the final heat of the last event in the women's competition at the South Central Regional. I am Sean Woodland alongside 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games competitor Maddie Curley. We have reached the point where it's time to bring out the 15-foot rope and the 135-pound barbell, 4 rounds of 2 rope climbs, and then 4 squat cleans at 135 pounds. The athletes in the final heat are taking the floor. And Maddie, we know all these women should be able to climb a rope. The question, can they handle the 135-pound barbell?
That is the question, and that's what we've been seeing the guys struggle on when they had to do the 225s. In some of the earlier heats, we saw some of the women struggling. But here's where they're finishing up. They're going to want it, so I'm pretty sure we're going to see some great lifting today.
Holly Mata on the right of your screen in the APE shirt, stands for All People Excel. She currently holds third place. You just saw Jen Jones there in the multicolored headband. She is in first place securely, and next to her, Cassidy Lance in the yellow. She is in second place with 24 points. Candice Ruiz currently sits in fourth. She has 39 points. She is 3 back of Holly Mata, so that's where the race is going to be for that third and final spot to the CrossFit Games. Ruiz 3 points back. She needs to beat Mata by 4 places or more in order to get, or make that 3 places or more in order to jump her and then take over third place. We're getting ready to introduce the 12 athletes. We start in lane number 12. Coming in 12th overall is Lisa Thiel. She has a pair of 8-place finishes, one in event 3 and then the other in event 4. She's out of CrossFit Central downtown in Austin, Texas. Over in lane number 1, coming in 11th place overall, is Jenna Gracie from River City CrossFit here in San Antonio, Texas. Her best finish, a 6th place result in event number 6. In lane number 11, coming in 10th place overall, is Katie Russell. She has 71 points. Her best finish, a 4th place tie in the overhead squat event. She's from Bayou City CrossFit, 28 years old. In lane number 2, coming in 9th place overall, Shelly Galvin, 69 total points. She had a 6th place finish in event 5. She's unaffiliated, 5'6", 23 years old. In lane number 10, coming in 8th place overall with 52 points. She has a pair of 3rd place finishes, one in Jackie, one in the hundreds. She's a 2009 CrossFit Games competitor, and she's out of CrossFit Cedar Park in Cedar Park, Texas. In lane number 3, Jessica Malone, 19th in the region in 2012. She comes in 7th place overall with 49 points. In lane number 9 is Leah Schulenberger. She comes in 6th place overall, 47 points. She has a pair of 4th place finishes. In lane number 4, Ingrid Cantola, the former UCLA pole vaulter. She comes in 5th place overall with 43 points and had her best finish in event number 6. She placed 3rd in the chipper. In lane number 8, Candice Ruiz. She comes in 4th place overall, 39 points, 3 points out of 3rd place. She competed in the 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games and finished 29th overall. She's out of CrossFit Iron Horse. In lane number 5, in 3rd place with 36 points, Holly Mata. She finished 8th in the South Central region in 2012. She's out of Get Lifted CrossFit. She's 5'4". She's 32 years old and out of El Paso, Texas. In lane number 7, in 2nd place with 24 points overall, 2 first place finishes, one in Jackie, and then a tie for first with Jen Jones in event 6. Cassidy Lance out of CrossFit Bolt. And finally, your overall leader in lane number 6 is Jen Jones. She won the Mid-East, Mid-Atlantic region in 2012. She relocated from Washington, D.C. to Houston. She is now in Houston, Texas. She is the overall leader with 10 points. She has yet to finish lower than 4th place and has finished 1st in 4 of the last 5 events. Keep an eye on lane number 5 where Holly Mata will be working and lane number 8 where Candice Ruiz will be working. Ruiz again needs to beat Mata by 3 places or more in order to get back to the CrossFit Games. The time to beat today belongs to Veronica Pike. She did that earlier, 5 minutes, 54 seconds. The world record from the Australia region, Ruth Anderson Harrell, a time of 4 minutes, 25 seconds. The women finishing up their first 2 rope climbs and making their way down to the barbell. Just about everybody getting there at the same time. And
we talked about this earlier, how this event is really won right here on these squat cleans. There's so many of them. They're so heavy. And if you can take off on these touch and go and get them all 4 out of the way before you run back, it's going to give you a great lead.
Cassidy Lance got no rep, and there's Holly Mata forgetting to move her barbell to the second spot. Once you complete 4 reps, you have to move it to the next round, and so Mata trying to open up a lead on the rest of the competition. Cost her precious seconds there as the women move back to the rope, and it is Ingrid Cantola in lane number 4 with a slight lead over Holly Mata, Jen Jones, Cassidy Lance, and then Leah Schulenberger in lane 9. And now Mata slowing a little bit, having some trouble locking her feet in there on the rope. Cantola was having problems, and now Holly Mata catching her. Mata, Ruiz, and Cantola. Cantola in the red, Mata in the purple headband, and Ruiz in the yellow shorts. They're your leaders, and now Jen Jones in the white shorts. She is there as well. Jen Jones forgetting to move her barbell to the second spot. Once you complete 4 reps, you have to move to the next round in the games. Cassidy Lance in the yellow and second overall. She's coming down the floor now for her second set of 4 squat cleans.
And these girls are not wasting any time getting on the bar. The second they drop it, they're picking it right back up.
Ingrid Cantola in the red is just 140 pounds, so that barbell weighs just about as much as she does. Holly Mata in the headband is in the lead as she makes her way back for her 3rd round. Behind her in the red is Ingrid Cantola out of CrossFit Central, and in lane 8, Candice Ruiz.
And these are the 3 girls fighting for 3rd, and it's so clear in this race that they're wasting no time to fight for that position.
Again, Candice Ruiz needs to beat Mata by 3 places or more in order to work her way above her and into 3rd place. Cassidy Lance, who sits in 2nd place overall, as we pass 2 minutes and 30 seconds, working her way back to the rope for round number 3. Candice Ruiz is up the rope.
Whoa.
But it's Ingrid Cantola now who's opening up quite a lead. Ingrid Cantola came in 5th place overall. She has 43 points. She trails Mata by 7. So she is going to need to not only win, but need a lot of help in order to get into 3rd place. She's on her 3rd round now of 4 squat cleans. Behind her in the yellow is Candice Ruiz, who competed at the CrossFit Games last year. She finished 29th there. Now it's Mata in the purple headband, back to her barbell. Behind her, your overall leader, Jen Jones. And Mata just getting no rep now, talking with her judge to find out what happened there.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I was watching it.
She may not have gotten low enough. Now here comes Cassidy Lance in lane number 7, 2nd place overall, coming back to the barbell for her 3rd round. Ingrid Cantola and Candice Ruiz pass her on the way for their 4th and final round of rope climbs. We're past 3 minutes, 30 seconds. The time to beat Veronica Pike here in the South Central Regional, 5 minutes, 54 seconds. The world record, 4 minutes, 25 seconds. That was put up by Ruth Anderson Harrell in the Australia Regional.
And watch Candice Ruiz just drop from this rope.
There is there is no rule about having to stop at the bottom, so you can just slide right down like that. That is allowed. Ingrid Cantola makes her way up the rope, and she is done and going back down the floor, taking a look to her left to see where their fellow competitors are, but she right now is squarely in the lead. Back to the barbell for her final set of 4 squat cleans at 135 pounds. Cantola needed a victory here, but she's going to need a lot of help if she's going to make it into the CrossFit Games. Here comes Candice Ruiz. Ruiz on the barbell, and there's no sign of Holly Mata, who is still on the bar, so this is good for Ruiz if she thinks she can make up ground on Mata. Has to beat her by 3 or more. 1 to go for Cantola. She is in 4:38, and the victory for her. But there's still a race going on for that 3rd overall spot, but Cantola now doing some good work to get herself in position to possibly get into 3rd. Candice Ruiz is in 4:52 unofficially. Now we have to see where Holly Mata will finish. Mata needs to stay within 3 spots. Jen Jones, the overall leader, she is safe. She just needs again to avoid a catastrophe here, and she will be going to the games. 2 reps remaining. 2 reps remaining for Holly Mata on the left. Now just 1 for Mata. The precious seconds ticking away for Holly Mata. Jen Jones is in. She has now finished 3rd. It was Ruiz in 2nd, and now Mata is going to finish in 4th place. So Mata should hang on to that final spot. Candice Ruiz put up a great fight, but it does not seem right now that she has done enough to get herself back into the games. Meanwhile, Cassidy Lance in lane 7, finishing up her final round of squat cleans as we approach the 6-minute mark of this 7th and final event. Ingrid Cantola, very happy with her performance, getting some congratulations. And now here's Cassidy Lance with 1 rep to go as more competitors are finishing up. Cassidy Lance across the finish line, unofficially in 6 minutes flat. Next to her is Candice Ruiz in the yellow shorts, and Ruiz, some anxious moments now for her.
Yeah, now it's a waiting game to find out where those points fell.
Lane number 1 is Jenna Gracie. She is in. Next to her was Shelley Galvin. She was finishing up. We approach the 6.5-minute mark. So Galvin, as you can see right here, just how tough this barbell gets just as you move on to this workout. That's Lisa Thiel in lane 12 out of CrossFit Central downtown. She's across and gets a big hug.
And she's a new mom.
From
Her
Ingrid
baby's
Cantola.
only 8 months old.
Congratulations to her. Shelley Galvin in lane 2 struggles through her final rep, and we are done. So a big win for Ingrid Cantola. A great effort from Candice Ruiz. But right now, we have to wait for the official results. But right now, it does not look like she did enough to beat Holly Mata and move into 3rd place overall. A lot of CrossFit Bolt fans about 10 feet in front of us congratulating their representative, Cassidy Lance. Ingrid Cantola was there as well. And all the athletes congratulating themselves on quite an effort.
Quite a weekend. 7 events long. These girls are happy to be done now.
So Jen Jones looks like she will remain in 1st place. Cassidy Lance should probably hold on to 2nd. And Holly Mata was able to hold off Candice Ruiz. Let's send it down to Emily Turner with your winner.
Ingrid, a fantastic performance. I mean, you were out in the lead the entire time. Was this in your wheelhouse, and why?
Yeah, I was absolutely looking forward to this workout. Rope climbs are one of my favorites, and the squat cleans are at a manageable weight for me now. I've been working on my squat clean all year. Thanks to my coach, Spencer Arnold, got really strong at my squat clean, so I was really looking forward to this one.
And we don't know what the final events are as far as the standings are concerned, but I know that was on your mind going into this
Yes,
event.
absolutely. I knew that I had to make up some ground against the girls in 4th and 5th ahead of me, or 3rd and 4th ahead of me if I wanted to get top 3. So I just fought as hard as I could, and if I got there, then that's great. And if not, I have a wedding to plan, so that's fine.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That counts. Sean, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Emily. It looks like your top 3 will remain Jen Jones, Cassidy Lance, and Holly Mata. Candice Ruiz missing by just 1 point. And Ingrid Cantola will remain in 5th place. Unofficial results, we'll have to wait for the official ones. The men are up next, but for now, we will send it back to Rory, Pat, and Nicole in the studio.
Oh, you get what you want for as a CrossFit fan. All the women that need to show up for that race for 3rd showed up.
What an exciting race. Candice Ruiz, you can't ask anything more from her. She knew what she needed to do. I mean, she had the lead briefly in the 2nd round, but Cantola took it and it just wasn't enough.
Saw some stuff in that event that we haven't seen before with the quick slide down on the rope. And
Love
again,
that.
she put it all out there, but I don't think it was quite enough.
Reckless abandon.
Yep.
We've got a short break now. When we come back, we'll talk to the overall leaders and see the men kick off event number 7. Don't go away. The update show continues after this.
Doesn't care where you're going or how you get there. Sometimes you have to push, pull, or fight through. It's not always perfect, and it doesn't come easy. Life simply asks for your journey.
Games update show has been provided in part by Mizzen and Main. Tradition evolved.
Yeah! So I need more core to extremity. Yeah! No. Yes! No. Yes! No. You really want to come from the diaphragm. You gotta get it. Yeah! Yeah! Kiss the baby. It's kind of like two pieces to the ball. It's really fun.
Women's event number 7 has concluded in the South Central Regional. We know who's going to Carson in July. Let's throw it back to Sean Woodland for an interview with the winners.
Welcome back to the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. We have sorted things out, and we know our top 3 women. Jen Jones, Cassidy Lance, and Holly Mata. Let's send it down to Emily Turner.
All right, Holly Mata, you were battling for this third-place finish throughout the weekend. How did you just scrap your way to the podium?
I knew it was a couple points, so I knew I had to stay with these girls around me. So it's nice you guys set up these little markers because it makes it easy to see that.
Fantastic. Well, good job, and congratulations. Good luck going to Carson. All right, Cassidy Lance, you changed up your training routine this year. How have you trained it, and obviously how has it paid off?
Yeah. Well, I've just participated in the group classes before, and this year I decided to take CrossFit a little bit more serious and programmed. My head coach and Courtney Wiesinger programmed specifically throughout the year for this, so it helped a lot. Yes.
It helped a lot, I think, is an understatement.
A little bit more confident out here than in the years before.
And you're headed to the game. Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, so Jen, you are returning to the games this year. Last year you had a 28th place finish. What are you going in for looking this year?
Onward and upward. Last year was a little bit nerve-wracking, lots of celebrities there, but I'm excited to kind of showcase what I've gotten better at this past year for training and everything.
And you think having a year under your belt will help?
Yes. Experience is definitely a benefit. So.
Fantastic. Congratulations,
Thank
Jen.
you so much.
Sean, Maddie, back to you.
Thank you, Emily. Jen Jones, Cassidy Lance, and Holly Mata are heading to Carson for the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. When we come back, a little bit later on, we will have the men. Plenty still on the line there. For now, let's send it back to Rory, Pat, and Nicole in the studio.
A woman so fast the cameras can't even catch her. Jen Jones.
Exactly right. And cool, calm, and collected, right? I think between event 6 and event 7, she was so confident that she was on Travelocity, just kind of booking her trip out to LA. So she's golden.
Sure. So we knew that was going to happen, right? But in the men's division, it's been a lot more erratic. Lots of jumps on day 1 and 2. Let's jump now and look at event number 6, how that played out in the South Central Regional. Of course, Chase Ingram, after a bad event number 5, came in for event number 6, hoping to redeem himself. Kicked off with handstand push-ups. The overall leader, Paul Smith, had a large amount of trouble with those.
Yeah, and again, for a big guy that's strong overhead, I didn't expect when he had a body weight movement, let alone with a set of 50, for him to be happy, and that's how it played out. But I will say, credit where credit is due, he did much better than I thought he would.
Chase also missing the feet at the top of the movement, actually getting no rep. And then Mike McGoldrick, the door is open, and he steps up. He's the new overall leader, but apparently has a crotch injury after this event.
I think it was actually a groin injury there, but that can still affect your squat clean.
Same area.
So, yes, we'll see what that happens. A heavy squat clean could definitely play into event 7 for him.
So Bartow takes 9th place in the event, another big man, but an impressive finish. He remains in 2nd place overall after this event. I was impressed actually with Asia's overhead, or with his handstand push-ups rather. Smith recovered from the handstand push-ups, but then it came down to a dramatic finish with Roy Gamboa, who was chasing him down. They tie, and it actually had some implications for his overall lead.
And this is true South Central men's fashion, right? I mean, this is the final heat where you expect to see the best times come out. Well, the fastest time actually came out from an earlier heat, but the big guys in the top 3 did just what they needed to stay there.
Yeah, and Chase Ingram on event 6, another disappointment. He was not happy with the finish. He never actually made it to the lunges after that. So McGoldrick takes the top spot. Asia Bartos stays in second, and Paul Smith is now tied for points with Gamboa. You had something to say about Chase's previous injury.
Well, yeah, I mean, Chase, we don't know what's going on with him. I mean, it's kind of, we talk about the order of the events and where things come out, and maybe the things that we're still getting at that shoulder injury from a couple years ago that he's been rehabbing are now playing out in these last couple events. Because going from first to where he is now just doesn't make sense.
The only thing that's obvious is something's wrong, he's hurt, so Chase, we hope you're feeling better, brother.
So Chase, the day 1 leader, drops down with a 41st place finish. Now you see Paul Smith, who had a 15th or 12th place finish on that. Literally anything could happen in this regional. The men are now queued up. They're actually ready to take on this final event, event number 7. They've got the rope climbs and the heavy squat cleans. We'll see how this plays out from the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. Sean Woodland and Maddie Curley have the live action call.
Welcome back to the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. I'm Sean Woodland alongside 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games competitor Maddie Curley, and we're getting set for the 7th and final event at the South Central Regional for the men, squat cleans and rope climbs, and there is plenty still up for grabs here, Maddie, as we have just 1 heat to go.
And this is the closest race in the regionals I have seen yet. There are so few points separating our top 4 guys. It is really anybody's game here.
Athletes taking the floor, and we'll go through the scenarios in a moment here. The event is just what we just saw with the women. 4 rounds of 2 rope climbs and then 4 squat cleans at 225 pounds, and there's a 100-foot sprint between each one. In the APE shirt, in 3rd place overall, the former NFL running back is Paul Smith. He is going to try to hold off with both Roy Gamboa and Jason Hogan for that 3rd and final spot to the games. Smith at one point was the leader overall going into event 6, but then he finished tied for 13th and he dropped to 3rd. Athletes are getting set on their starting pads. We'll go through the introductions in a moment. But Maddie, where is this workout going to be won or lost?
This workout is going to be won on the squat cleans. We saw that with the ladies. The faster you are there, and really it's how fast you get back to that rope and climb the rope too.
In lane number 12, coming in 12th place overall, Drew Bignall out of Mission CrossFit here in San Antonio. In lane number 1, coming in 11th place overall, is Hunter Owen. Owen, 2 years of pro independent baseball before he started CrossFit in 2010. In lane number 11, Brian Diaz finished 43rd at the 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games, won this region last year. He currently sits in a 10th place overall. In lane number 2, Cole Mashburn. He is in 9th place overall. Mashburn finished 42nd in this region in 2012. He's out of CrossFit PRX in Spring, Texas. In lane number 10, coming in 8th place overall with 90 points, is Jeff Germond, finished 8th in the South Central region in 2012. In lane number 3, 7th place overall, Richard Bolkin. 1 year of CrossFit under his belt. He's out of Max Out CrossFit in Lubbock, Texas. In lane number 9, coming in 6th place overall, Cody Spell out of Hurricane CrossFit in Lake Charles, Louisiana. In lane number 4, he currently sits in 5th place overall with 75 points. Jason Hogan. He was a 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games competitor, finished 38th. He was 2nd in the region last year. In lane number 8, currently sitting in 4th place, Roy Gamboa. CrossFitting for just 1 year. He's unaffiliated. He's out of Odessa, Texas, and he is trying to make his way for the first time to the CrossFit Games. In lane number 5, out of Get Lifted CrossFit, in third place overall with 64 points is Paul Smith. He has 8 years of NFL football under his belt as a running back with Denver, St. Louis, Detroit, and San Francisco. In lane number 7, in second place overall with 62 points, he won the overhead squat event. He was in the CrossFit Games last year where he finished 21st, Asia Bartow. And your overall leader will work out of lanes number 6. He comes in first place overall. Mike McGoldrick with 57 points overall. He won Jackie, and he's had 2 straight top 4 finishes. Third place in event number 5, and then fourth place in event number 6. McGoldrick finished 17th in 2010 in the Southeast region and 7th in the Central East in 2011. He's 5 feet 10, 195 pounds, and he's 26 years old. There's your field for the final event here at the South Central region. The time to beat today, Mark Stewart, 5 minutes, 23 seconds. The world record belongs to Spencer Hendel, 4 minutes, 11 seconds. And keep an eye on lane 7, Asia Bartow, a guy very similar to Hendel. And I'm sure he's looking forward to getting his hands on that barbell.
He wasted no time getting his hands on his barbell. He about jumped halfway off that rope and only took probably 2 climbs to get to the top.
So Asia Bartow currently occupies second place at 62 points. He needs to have a strong finish here to stay there. Paul Smith is currently in third. Smith with 64 points is trying to hold off Roy Gamboa and Jason Hogan. Gamboa needs to beat Smith by 3 or more to get into third place. Hogan needs to beat Smith by 11 or more and also beat Gamboa, so he needs some help. Hogan in the white shirt making his way right up the rope in lane number 4, and it's Asia Bartow in lane 7. There are your 2 leaders. McGoldrick and Smith back to their ropes as well.
We talked about this before. There are no requirements for where you start on the rope. You can jump as high as you want, and as long as you hit that steel at the top, you can drop at any time you want.
Bartow is off the rope. Hogan is off the rope. Hogan taking a second to chalk up his hands. Now in these transitions, it's key. Fast enough to save time, but slow enough to where you can rest.
Absolutely, and we talked about that. Sometimes these workouts are won and lost on the transitions. You cannot afford to lose those precious seconds.
So Asia Bartow choosing to break these up into singles, but he's not spending a lot of time resting. Jason Hogan as well is dropping the bar down, and now Mike McGoldrick in the all black. He's on his barbell. He's your overall leader. Paul Smith making his way to the barbell. So this is going to be a frantic sprint to the end as we approach the 2-minute mark. The best time of the day again, Mark Stewart, 5 minutes, 23 seconds. Bartow's done. He's moved his bar to the third place on the mat. And now Jason Hogan is done. And Hogan trying to chase down Asia Bartow, but more importantly, Hogan trying to stay ahead of both Paul Smith and Roy Gamboa for that third and final spot. Hogan needs to probably win this event and get a lot of help from his fellow competitors. Mike McGoldrick, the leader overall in lane 6. He's back to his barbell. And now Brian Diaz, who would need a ton of help to get back to the games in lane 11, is back on his rope.
And we saw Mike McGoldrick with a little pain at the end of event 6. It does not seem to be affecting him on the squat cleans, which is got to be a good sign for him.
Yeah, McGoldrick told our Emily Turner that he did hurt his groin in event number 6. He's just going to gut through this one. Just one event to go as Bartow in the black shorts and black socks and the tan shirt, and Jason Hogan in the white shirt battling for the top spot overall. The world record, 4 minutes, 11 seconds. That was Spencer Hendel last week in the Northeast region. Hogan, his first squat clean. Asia Bartow, his first squat clean, and both choosing to break him up into singles. And now Hogan through 2 and taking a lead on Asia Bartow. Meanwhile, Mike McGoldrick with just 2 to go in lane number 6 in the black shirt. 1 more to go for Jason Hogan, so he is taking care of what he needs to do in order to get himself back to Carson, California. He moves the bar to the 4th position, and now he is back for his 4th and final set of 2 rope climbs. And here comes Mike McGoldrick, the overall leader, trying to chase down Jason Hogan. McGoldrick just needs to finish towards the top and not have a complete and total collapse and he will still be one of the 3 going to the games. 1 rope climb down for Hogan.
And this as an athlete is when you feel the best, when you know you only have those 4 squat cleans left waiting for you, and then you get to be done with this workout. These guys are going to push through as hard as they can on these last 4.
Hogan is done with both. Bartow's done with 1, so it is Jason Hogan all by himself in the lead. He came in 5th place overall, needing a strong performance here and a lot of help to get himself into 3rd place. Chalking up his hands, and now 4 final squat cleans for Jason Hogan. Past the 4-minute mark and past the world record mark now with Spencer Hendel, but Hogan will smash the time to beat here of 5:23, held by Mark Stewart. Richard Bolkin in the light blue shirt. He's on his 4th and final round. 1 more rep for Jason Hogan. He stands it up, and Hogan is in 4:34 unofficially, and now he has to wait and see what both Paul Smith and Roy Gamboa are able to do. Asia Bartow, he will finish 2nd. Bartow looking like he has secured a spot in the games, and now Mike McGoldrick, he's over the finish line, 4:48 unofficially. So Hogan still watching intently. It's Gamboa in the yellow headband now struggling with his final set. Here comes Paul Smith. Gamboa stands that rep up. He has 3 to go. Paul Smith on his final round as well. And Jason Hogan knows he's watching both competitors. He needs help here. And this is allowed. This is allowed right here.
Exactly. You can do a power clean and then front squat it at the top. That is totally legal.
Gamboa's across the finish line in 5:20. So Jason Hogan looks like he will be on the outside looking in. Now Paul Smith needs to see if he can hold off Gamboa. And this one's going to get interesting because now we're into the times that were put up in the other heats. Paul Smith is across the finish line unofficially, 5:42 for him. Did he do enough to stay in 3rd place? There's your overall leader. Definitely confidence for Mike McGoldrick.
Godfidence. That's a believing in God shirt right there.
Read that a little too fast, but either way, looks like he is going to be going to the games. Paul Smith signing his scorecard. Smith trying to hang on to 3rd place overall and stay ahead of Roy Gamboa. And if Smith can do that, Get Lifted CrossFit will be sending a team, a man, and a woman to the games as Jason Hogan congratulates Paul Smith. Jeff Germont there as well, and Mike McGoldrick, who came in 1st place overall. We will have to wait until the final scores are tabulated to find out if the top 3 remain the same. But Jason Hogan certainly did all he could to help himself, but he just did not get the help he needed from the rest of the field.
Everyone's heading over to cheer on our last competitor. Drew Bignall is finishing out.
Now, Drew Bignall in lane 12. Great story on him. He was a 4-year letterman at Trinity University as a pitcher and had an accident with a drunk driver 4 years ago that severely damaged his left knee and his lower leg. He's at a Mission CrossFit in San Antonio.
And we saw that kind of bothering him on the deadlift box jump workout as he was getting to the last few reps of box jumps. You could definitely see him favoring one leg. One left. The guys are cheering him on. The fans are here.
And this is what you love about CrossFit.
Absolutely.
This is the best part. The person who finishes last usually gets a louder cheer than the person who finishes first. So Drew Bignall is in, and he is done unofficially in 7 minutes and 34 seconds. And now we wait for the official results. Jason Hogan will not make it back to the CrossFit Games. Certainly went down swinging, but he is not getting in. Neither is that man, Brian Diaz. Both of them representing this region in the Games last year. They will be watching this year. So Jason Hogan is the winner, but it's going to be a bit bittersweet for him. Emily Turner is standing by. Let's send it down to her.
All right, Jason, I just saw you snap your fingers and say close. What does it feel like on this side of the workout?
Feels good. Did exactly what I wanted to do on it. I knew I had a tough rope to climb, so to speak. So I just knew I needed to go hard and stay smooth on the cleans. and really power up the rope climbs, because that's something that's normally really good for me. So decided to go for it.
Well, I mean, it was a fantastic finish for this event, no doubt. What does this mean going into the next season for you?
Well, I always have a good game plan. I think I was there. I was ready for the season. I just didn't make some good choices as far as strategy. And so back to the drawing board a little bit, making sure that I analyze the WODs right, and I think I'll be ready next year.
Going ahead and thinking about next year. Congratulations, Jason.
Thank you.
Sean, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Emily. A bittersweet victory for Jason Hogan. He goes down swinging, but he will not be going to Carson. We'll be back with the 3 men who will be representing this region. For now, back to the studio. Rory, Pat, and Nicole.
Well, that's unfortunate for Hogan, but for CrossFit Games fans, that played out about as perfectly as it could have.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the final leaderboard to shake out, but I'm so happy that it looked like McGoldrick was okay. We thought he might have been tweaked early, but it didn't slow him down the cleans at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much heartbreak that is already built into the past 2 weeks that we're going to see a whole cohort of athletes come up next year that took that 4th place by 1 or 2 points, and they're going to come back with a vengeance. He's already talking about next year.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we see him going down swinging, so certainly an impressive finish by Jason Hogan. Loved it. We have a short break now, but don't go too far. We'll go back to the Freeman Coliseum for interviews with the winners. When we return, more CrossFit Games update action after this.
CrossFit is a lifestyle in which you are prioritizing your health and ability to do many different things from high level of intensity. It's actually the best way to help you reach your fitness goals.
For me, it's making me happy.
The last person finishing is just as important as the first.
It's this team atmosphere that ends up making you better. Family that you end up building and the energy that you get back from yourself, that's CrossFit to me.
You come to a CrossFit gym, everybody knows your name, everybody loves you, and you're a part of something bigger than just
CrossFit gave me something extra that I kind of needed in life. I love it.
It's my passion. It's to make this CrossFit.
I compete with myself. I'm healthier. I am stronger.
So what an amazing finish you've got there in the men's. Literally, it was almost as if we said, guys, please play it out this way. Please, Paul Smith, have some sort of a deficiency that's going to drop you down the leaderboard.
We got just what we asked for.
Well, and we talked about this a little bit, how in the South Central we'd seen each individual that was in the top 10 had one glaring weakness, but it all played out in a different workout for them, which
made it interesting.
Yeah, it made it really interesting. And so then Paul Smith looks like he's sitting pretty going into that last event, and we find this huge weakness with him having to go to that crossed arm front squat.
I don't think I could do that if I tried.
No, I mean, he's a strong dude, but obviously there's a couple things he still needs to work on, because that just jumped out of the screen at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the deadlifts and the squat cleans, the last thing I expected to expose people. I thought handstand push-ups, maybe rope climb, but here
not
we
the
go.
Squat clean, yeah.
So let's head back out to the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, where Sean Woodland has the interviewees standing by. Let's hear from Sean Woodland right now.
Back at the Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas, Roy Gamboa needed to beat Paul Smith by 3 or more. He beats him by 4, and now Roy Gamboa is going to Carson in the CrossFit Games. Emily Turner's with the 3 men who will be representing this region at the Games. Let's send it down to her.
All right, I've got Roy Gamboa, who coming into this weekend was a relative unknown. You don't have a box that you go to, per se, and you've been doing this for less than a year, and you are now going to the Games. What was the key to getting here?
Having faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, listening to my coach, being coachable, and having a great team to support me.
So you haven't done this before. You're going to the Games fresh. Do you have any strategy coming out of this event in how you're going to do and train, what you're going to do and how you're going to train for that Games?
I believe that was to my coach, but I'm sure it's going to be working on my engine and getting it up.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, and we'll see you in California. Over here, Asia Bartow, familiar name in South Central. Asia, coming into this weekend, you weren't in the top 10. Clearly, you are now in second place. What was the journey like getting here?
It was a great journey. It was a lot of fun, just as much fun as I had the past couple years, but it's not about the open. I knew it'd come down to the regionals, and the cream would rise to the top, so I'm just blessed and so excited to make a trip back to Carson.
Ellen, good luck. You'll have a second shot at it this year.
Thank you so much.
And our #1 winner of South Central, Mike McGoldrick, you look a little stunned right now. Did you surprise yourself with that?
Yes, I did. I knew I was capable, but, you have to be crazy enough to believe it.
And you, after the event we had earlier this morning, had a little bit of an injury, a groin injury. How is that injury doing now?
Right now, I can't feel anything. It's fine, but before I started, I'm pretty sure I pulled it or something, but I was a wreck. I was so scared. I was in the back getting stretched out, and I just had to set it aside and get this done so I can last another 4 minutes.
And you sure did, obviously at the top of the podium. And good luck in California to you, Mike. Sean, Maddie, back to you guys.
Thank you, Emily. So it's McGoldrick, Bartow, and Gamboa. A couple new faces and one familiar one heading out to California.
A perfectly played out finish to the men's competition. Certainly enjoyed watching that. Paul Smith drops out. We've got McGoldrick and Bartow. I was happy to see him break back in. If I'm being honest, I'm a huge Bartow fan.
How can you not be? He's one of the most entertaining guys out there. And you can't beat the coaching that you get in an affiliate, okay? But as a lifelong garage gym CrossFitter, Roy Gamboa, hearing that he's unaffiliated and, works out hard enough potentially like in his garage to earn a spot to the Games, I'm instantly a fan of this guy.
Yeah, and again, continues to play out the year of the upset. We have 2 names going to the CrossFit Games this year that did not go last year from the South Central region.
Let's talk about the teams in South Central. We've had one team, CrossFit Dallas Central, has been dominating since day 1. Let's take a look at the standings after yesterday. CrossFit Dallas Central never had a finish outside of the top 6, 17 combined points going into the final day, but Atomic CrossFit and CrossFit Katy come into the final day in a tie. Let's take a look at how the action played out today. The top 2 remain the same, but Get Lifted has a fantastic day. It was Atomic CrossFit who showed up for the first event. We call these guys the Bad News Bears because no male on their team finished the Open above 420. I think that's fantastic to see that these guys are going to go to the CrossFit Games with a team comprised like that.
Yeah, they came to better as a team than they were as individuals. And Atomic, going into the lunges, they had a big lead over the rest of the field.
So Get Lifted made some ground, but it was Atomic who finished first place with 9:29. Team Get Lifted finished after them 10:17. And then we move on to Event 7.
Now, Team Get Lifted sends the first male teammate across the line, but the competition was by no means finished.
Yeah, and then if you look here, or looking right now, as the first team Get Lifted, the final woman finishes, they would take first place with a time of 15:54. Here you'll see it coming up.
Yeah, Get Lifted. What an impressive finish for these guys. Not only are they sending...
A little wave to the crowd there.
Yeah, a little shout out to the team. They certainly rolled deep. I love the APE, everybody performs. And how impressive that these guys are sending a team. They're sending an individual female, and they almost send Paul Smith. They almost did a sweep of each division.
Well, it's not coincidence, right? I mean, you have to say, without knowing much about their gym, they have to be doing something right there across all the ages, all the spectrum. So they have a good community, high on
Yeah,
my
we've
list.
seen this with a couple different teams now. Diablo's another good example with Alessandro and what their team is doing. And then here, I think we're seeing a lot of individuals and teams saying, hey, let's just throw down together for the year, get some intensity in the gym, and then see what happens at the end, when we go to regionals.
So we've wrapped up the South Central region. We know who's going to California in July. Let's take a look at the overall leaderboards at the close of the event. In the men's division, of course, McGoldrick, Bartow, and Roy Gamboa with the last-minute entry into the qualifying. Jen Jones sweeps Cassidy Lance and Holly Mata go as well. And CrossFit Dallas Central with a commanding lead. Atomic CrossFit and Get Lifted will join them as well.
Jen Jones.
Good
luck catching her.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, the only thing I can see is there potentially some hole in her engine, or something, with not finishing the hundreds. Other than that, she appears to be bomb-proof as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and I mean, she even mentioned how for difference from last year to this year, she's got more experience under her belt. She's looking to make a move at the games.
No doubt. That's a wrap for South Central. We'll take a quick break now. Don't go away. When we come back, we'll tee up the action from Northern California.
All right.
Great job on those 400s today, of course.
Yes, welcome on the lifted. Shocker.
You want to settle this?
Come on.
Let's go.
Come on, Venezuela. Let's put your back into it.
I am. Speak American.
It's English, you damn bastard.
I will smack you, so God help me.
Gotta catch me fast, yeah?
Are you coming back next year? As a guy, this is going to be the best.
Ever since he decided to retire, he's been extremely healthy. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Welcome back to the live installment of the CrossFit Games update show of the final day of week 2. Now we're waiting not so patiently for the women of NorCal to kick off. Luckily, we've got lots to talk about from down under. Let's recap the women's event in Australia. It was all about Kara Webb at Wollongong, which I've learned to pronounce correctly now. Kara Webb, leader after 3 events, again came out hot from the very first event. She did Jackie. Pip Malone was on her tail, the newcomer. We saw her on day 1 for the first time.
Yeah, and again, when we see a newcomer at this level, regional competition, we're always a little suspect, but event after event, she's proved she belongs to be there.
Yeah, and if you look at Kara Webb across the board, she's done a beautiful job in all of these events, really showing that she can hang with not just the Australia region, but she'll do bigger things when she gets to the games.
Yeah, then on event 4, Ruth Anderson-Harrell shows back up and breaks into the top 3 after day 2. The Kiwi, of course, we expected to be there, ends up where she belongs. Pip Malone didn't finish, but still remained in 3rd overall after day 2. In day 3, as we go to the action there, Kara, Pip, Ruth Anderson-Harrell going head-to-head in event number 6. This one was all about Harrell eventually.
And this was, make or break, like so many of these events with the ladies, on event 6 around the world, the handstand push-ups. Either get the lead there or spend the rest of the time trying to play catch-up.
So here we go back to the charge here. You see some weakness exposed, and then Kara Webb, charge, did not stop on those
I mean, she didn't even take a stutter step between her lunges. She just went right through.
So
and, you know, run or jog on event 7, right? I mean, you can sprint all you want down to the barbell, but if you wait for the cleans, you might as well have walked.
And then Miss Ruth Anderson Harrell finally shows up at the end. She gets a world record on event 7. There's the Maori war dance at the salute, the haka, giving a little salute to Ruth Anderson Harrell. That's her home gym. And I love that. It makes my spine tingle every time I see it.
We saw that in the past, so it's good to see that coming back, you know, year after year.
Definitely. I mean, I think if you look across with Australia, you've got Pip coming back. I mean, who knows where she's going to place? Being a newcomer to the scene there, and we didn't see a lot of mistakes. She stayed poised throughout the entire competition. I think she could go to the games and hopefully not let those nerves set in and do just fine.
Yeah, so she's the one newbie, and she's going in the women's category. But in the men's category, it was the veterans who showed up to play, and they all took their spots back to Carson eventually. We had Chad McKay, Rob Forte, who were in a tie for first going into the third day. McKay, you remember, came out with a fantastic day 1. He ended day 1 in first place. He had the 275-pound overhead, and he looked untouchable at that point.
Yeah, he looked great on, and a shout out to the wardrobe here on day 1. I mean, come on, you know, what it takes to wear that is exactly what you can see.
So Matt Healy ended the day in third overall, but Rob Forte made his move on day 2. After 5 events, he tied, as I mentioned, for first place with McKay. And Rob Forte, a Games veteran, we knew he was going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, we thought he was going to do well. He had a terrible performance in the burpee muscle-up, but then he came back and in the deadlift box jump workout put in a great performance, and that, compared with that great overhead squat, really paired him nicely for us to think that he could make a move in that event 7.
Yeah, but regardless, entering the last day, Healy still stayed into the race. He did well on event number 5, and on the final day, Brandon Swan, who was just 2 points outside of third place, entering the final day, and he makes his move on the last day.
Yeah, young kid, Games veteran, proving that he has the mental toughness to stay in the fight and earn a spot.
Yeah, and from both of these gentlemen, you know, they started day 1 in 6th and 7th place and crawled their way back to the top. Wow, check that out.
Healy showed back up. So we didn't get the streaker, but Healy shows up in a Speedo, maybe getting a little suntan there from the lights. Now, Rob Forte, again, makes the statement that he really deserves to be on top, and he finishes as your overall leader after 7 events down in Australia. So the veterans going back, I mean, experience speaks volumes. You said Brandon is young, but he's got that game's experience.
The same 3, you know, I doubted Chad McKay a little bit when he didn't finish the hundreds, but then I kept my mouth shut because he proved he's going back and he deserves it.
Yeah, and Brandon and Rob crawling their way back into the contention for those top 3 spots over the past 2 days. Again, just a great example of who knows what happens after day 1.
So let's go now to the teams of Australia. Teams was dominated by Schwartz CrossFit Melbourne, and they kept up with that tradition on the final day.
These guys were strong from start to finish, you know, on day 1, great day 1, but however, you know, not to let the cat out of the bag, day 2 is where they began to struggle.
Yeah, and you got to mention that the female, Amy Dracup, will probably go team after she did not qualify as an individual.
Right.
CrossFit Active sets a world record in event number 5, or 2013 record more accurately. These guys came out. What an amazing performance, and this young lady's stoked.
And then... Yeah,
doing a hot of her own.
And then Southern CrossFit takes a 3rd place for the team to finish out the leaderboard, sprinting to the finish there, and again ends up in 3rd place after the 7 events.
Yeah, so Southern made that move on the final day, and they bump Horizons out of the top 3 to take that spot. So your overall qualifiers going to California: Rob Forte, Chad McKay, and Brandon Swan. Kara Webb, Ruth Anderson Harrell, the Kiwi, and the newcomer Pip Malone on the women's side of the house. And the teams: Schwartz CrossFit Melbourne, CrossFit Active, and Southern CrossFit.
Schwartz, again, great overall, but on event 5, the heavy deads, they struggled, so they've got a little bit of time before the games where they face the best teams in the world, so get in the gym and take care of that.
Yeah, and 6 weeks is not a lot of time to develop capacity in a heavy deadlift, but who knows? Maybe they can shift some athletes around with those 2-person teams and come out just fine.
We've got a short commercial break right now. When we come back, we'll tee up the action from NorCal. Guys, get ready.
Ready.
We'll be right back.
So we are...
Hey, thanks, guys.
Hey, toss us up. Do I have more chicken?
today, it might not happen this week, it might not happen next week, it might not even happen next year. But if you believe that it'll happen, you can do it, it will happen. It will. I know it will. It might not be the fastest, it might not be the most gymnasty out there, but I'll tell you what, I'm never going to stop. Never stop believing in what I can do. No one can take that away from me.
You're looking live at the Sonoma County Fairgrounds where we're about to kick off the Women's Event 7 final heat action, and the top women in NorCal about to throw it down on one of the more exciting events that we've seen all weekend long. And NorCal's women's race is fantastic. You've got an old favorite, and you've got of course Annie Sakamoto, and then you got the newcomer up in the mix as well.
Yeah, the newcomers and some inspirational stories, right? You know, Caribou fighting back, from cancer, and a lot of people that have been fourth for years trying to get back into the top 3. So there's a lot of stuff going on there.
So the women about to kick off Event 7, as we mentioned. Let's take a look at how they got to where we are now.
Sonoma County, California, wine country welcomed the women of CrossFit NorCal, and a local comeback story highlighted the first day of competition. The leading favorite, Miranda Oldroyd, competing after suffering a broken neck last year, used a methodical pace on the rower to set herself up for a winning jacket. She clocked a time of 6:13. Event 2 was a battle between Sarah Hopping and Katie Hogan. Both got to 195 pounds, but Hopping's 3 months solidified the win over Hogan, whose solitary record of 95 was still good enough for second. High winds provided a lead for the unknown in Event 3, and 30 burpee muscle-ups proved to be too much for almost everyone in the field. China Cho was the only athlete to complete every rep inside the 7-minute time cap. Her time of 6:42 was her third straight finish inside the top 5, and after day 1, she was in second place overall. Day 2 was moving day for Alessandra Pacelli. She made her jump to the top of the leaderboard courtesy of a time of 24:40 in Event 4. Pacelli was the only woman in the region to complete the workout inside the 25-minute time cap. Meanwhile, Annie Sakamoto turned in a third-place performance and moved into third place overall, into Event 5. Pacelli continued to dominate in the afternoon. She had no trouble with the heavy deadlifts and box jumps, clocking a time of 3:45 for her second straight win. Heading into the final day, just 6 points separate the top 3 women. China Cho and Sarah Hopping have some ground to make up if they're going to get themselves onto the podium and into the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games.
Talk that live. Yeah. So an amazing women's race. Alessandra Pacelli, man, I am so impressed by this woman.
As well you should be, right? Because to be leading in NorCal, that means you are ahead of, I need to write them down, Sakamoto, Caribou, Hogan, Hopping, Cho, and Oldroyd. Like, they're not giving away the top spot there. That just speaks to her legitimacy.
Sure. And then I got to give a shout out to Annie Sakamoto. We saw it there in the video, the ring swinging up above her head. Annie stands about 4'11", I believe.
Vertically challenged.
Yeah, about 4'11". The ring, it didn't phase her. And if you think about the environmental factors that play out in these competitions, we know the floor at the NorCal Regional is a little bit uneven, a little bit shaky. The rings were swinging all over. It didn't phase her. She's rolled with the punches and said, okay, well, we'll just keep going. And she adapted really quickly in that workout. And
some strengths that I didn't expect to see out of her, namely the overhead squat, putting that much weight up overhead for a small woman, which we're not supposed to say. Right?
Got her again.
Exactly. Her center mass gives her a little bit of an advantage, I suppose. We could go that direction.
She's a squatter for sure.
Yeah, but then also just, across the board, Annie's just, I think, adapted year after year. And her size, I think maybe we just need to give her the credit and stop talking about it.
Absolutely. She's kind of, she was the Spirit of the Games winner because she is kind of that Chris Spieler thing. She does these amazing finishes despite her size. So amazing. And let's see how it played out in Event 6 this morning. Another fantastic race for the NorCal women. The leaders entering there, you can see them all. There's Annie Sakamoto behind Alessandra Pacelli. And Ashley Caribou had a strong lead going in, but Annie was tracking her down the entire workout. Yeah, Ashley was on a mission in this workout. When you saw her do the toes bar, she just looked poised and ready to take first place in this workout. I love the transition, going right in from the last jerk, not putting the bar down, just I'm going to finish my last one and go right into the lunges.
Caribou impressive from the get-go, right? I mean, you thought Annie would be first off the wall, but it was a Caribou show from the get-go. Annie making her gaining this ground on the overhead work, and then these ladies put on a battle to the finish.
And you know, everybody loves a lunge race, like the 09 Games finish. Pat, you were talking about this earlier. Is this strategy or just survival? You can't ask about strategy in a lunge race, right?
Exactly. Like sometimes you want to have these fancy cues, but every time afterwards you ask the athletes, what were you thinking? Like, pick up the damn bar, suck up the pain, and keep keep lunging.
Just go. What can you really do?
There's
and
not much direction you can go with that.
So Caribou finishes in first. Sakamoto takes second overall, and then displays a couple of her jiu-jitsu moves here as well on Caribou.
And if this event didn't go how Katie Hogan needed, the handstand push-ups really cost her, and also China Cho needed a big finish, didn't get it.
So Alessandra Pacelli on a world of her own, but Amy Sakamoto, Ashley Caribou, and even Sarah Hopping China Cho right there in striking distance. They possibly, if we see some weaknesses from these ladies, do you think they could actually break into that top 3?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing that stands out to me going into Event 7 is not who's in the top 3, but who's in 4 through maybe 8 or 9 that has a lot of capacity and potential in Event 7. So we've saw in the South Central where the people that were at the top did what they needed to do. They took the right places. There could be that whole cuts thing playing out right now with who's down the leaderboard and who can make a move.
Because while Pacelli does have a good lead, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, they're relatively close. And what do we keep seeing, on the leaderboard from weekend 1 to this weekend, watching the other live heats? Things happen in Event 7 which kind of defy logic, so it's still anyone's race.
Yeah, and unorthodox as you are, you think the overall event leader for this, or the overall event winner, is not actually going to be in the top 5, but number 7, Miss Miranda Oldroyd.
There's my prediction, okay? On Event 7, Miranda is going to win this event. It won't be enough to get her to the games, but she did the same thing in Southwest where she looked at Sheree Chan when Amanda was to work out and said, hey, I might not go to the games, but I'm going to win this damn workout. And she went out there and won.
Well, you got to go out with a bang. If you know your season's ending, in a few short moments, why not make the most of it?
Gas pedal to the floor.
It's the Jason Hogan thing, right? I'm going to go down swinging, I'm going to make a mark. And one of the best finishes that we've seen out of Miranda in regional qualifications, and certainly very impressive. China Cho, if she doesn't make it in this race,
It's a heartbreaking
three-peat 4th place, right?
Three-peat 4th place, yeah,
well
put.
Heartbreaking story. I mean, but usually we've seen great turnarounds for those athletes, but usually, not after 3 or 4 years. So I hope she comes back more determined than ever if it doesn't go her way this year.
Yeah, I remember the actual last event of 11 was also finished with a sprint, but it had a squat or a lunge element in it, and that's where she lost it. So let's see if she's got the mental toughness to go to it. We have to wait no longer. Yes. The women of NorCal are ready for the final heat. Let's throw it live where we'll hear the action call from Justin Judkins and Sheree Chan.
Thanks, Rory, and welcome everybody to a windy Sonoma County Fairgrounds. We are picking up the action with the 3rd and final heat of the 7th and final event, and today we find out who goes to the Reebok CrossFit Games. It all comes down to this event. It's the last opportunity for some of these women to move up the leaderboard. Now, Sheree, what are things looking like on the leaderboard right now?
Unless something catastrophic happens in this particular event, Cassandra is going to go ahead and pull first out. We have no doubt about that. However, there are only 2 points between 2nd, Annie Sakamoto, and 3rd, Ashley Caribou. They're going to fight to keep those spots. They want to be the leaders. We also have China Cho in 4th and Margot right underneath in 5th. Both have 41 points. I don't think China Cho wants to repeat a 4th place finish. She's going to fight hard to go ahead and get the best she can.
She's done that the last 2 years, and to make it 3 in a row would not make her a happy woman. These ladies have battled it out for the last 6 events over the past 2.5 days. They're going to battle it out one more time, and as they make their final preparations, we're going to find out who can climb rope and who can do squat cleans. And let's meet the competitors now. In lane number 12, currently sitting in 12th place is Rachel Doucet. She trains at CrossFit Monterey. This is her first year competing at the regionals. In lane number 1, currently sitting in 11th place, is Courtney Walker. She came out of the open in 3rd place. She trains at San Francisco CrossFit. This is also her first CrossFit competition at regionals. In lane number 11, currently sitting in 10th place, Amy Woods, CrossFit Monterey from Monterey, California. She placed 13th last year at the regionals and 14th the year before. In lane number 2 and currently sitting in 9th place, Katie Hogan. She trains at CrossFit CSA in Dublin, California. She has competed at the games twice, 2 times games competitor. In lane number 10 and currently sitting in 8th place, Molly Biss, NorCal CrossFit, and that's in San Jose, California. This will be her first regional competition. In lane number 3, currently sitting in 7th place, Miranda Oldroyd. She placed first in the first event, Jackie, here at this competition. She trains at NorCal CrossFit, and she did compete in the 08 Games. This will be her 4th regional. In lane number 9, currently sitting in 6th place, Sarah Hopping. She took first in the overhead squat event. She trains at Arena Ready CrossFit in San Francisco. In lane 4, currently sitting in 5th place, Margot Alvarez. Trains at Diablo CrossFit in Pleasant Hill, California. This is her 3rd year competing in CrossFit competitions. She placed 17th at last year's regional. In lane number 8 and currently sitting in 4th place, China Cho. She placed first in the 3rd event. She's from Fremont, California. She's been 4th at the last 2 regional competitions. In lane number 5, currently in 3rd place, Ashley Caravo from CrossFit San Jose. She was first in event number 6, and she's from Campbell, California. This will be her first regional competition. She's a cancer survivor. In lane number 7 and currently in 2nd place, Annie Sakamoto. She trains at CrossFit Santa Cruz Central from Soquel, California. A 2 times games competitor and an original Nasty Girl. In lane number 6, currently in 1st place on the leaderboard, Alessandra Pacelli. Placed first in events number 4 and 5, trains at Diablo CrossFit in Campbell, California. And last year she went to the games as a team member on their competition team. These ladies are getting set to take on event number 7. It is 4 rounds for time. 2 rope climbs on a 15-foot rope. Then they will sprint across the competition floor. That's a 100-foot sprint. Complete 4 squat cleans at 135 pounds. There is a 10-minute time cap on this workout. Now, this is a sprint, Cherie. We're going to see these blazing times. The world record time was set by Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, 4 minutes and 8 seconds. The time to beat for today's competition here at the Northern California Regional was set by Chelsea Ryan, a time of 5 minutes and 2 seconds.
5 minutes and 10 seconds, it sure was. This is going to be a sprint for these ladies. They want to make it to be the fittest on earth and compete against the fittest on earth out in California. So it's going to be a fun, fast race.
We are moments, just seconds away from the 3, 2, 1 go from the judges. And at this point, strategy. I know it's a sprint, but does a sprint mean you just put your head down and just go as fast as you can? Or is there any kind of a strategy that they're going to put into play?
I want to see them go as fast as they can.
And with this kind of a time frame, how costly is a no rep going to be?
More so mental game than anything else. I don't think it's going to be a huge cost for a no rep for them. We'll just see if they can just keep moving through it.
Okay, once again, 4 rounds for time, 2 rope climbs, a sprint across the competition floor, and then 4 squat cleans at 135 pounds. And I'm glad to see these women sprinting. Miranda Oldroyd first to the barbell, and she's going to jump right into those 4 squat cleans. That's 135 pounds on the bar. No problem for the lady in red. That is Katie Hogan, trains at CrossFit CSA. Right behind Katie in the pink top with the black hat on is Miranda Oldroyd. She was the first one to reach the barbells. they do have to advance the bar to the next set of 4.
Sarah Hopping is the one sprinting across the floor.
Sarah Hopping has taken the lead on those squat cleans. We knew that she would. She's an Olympic weightlifter. We're going to see how efficient she is with the rope climb. She's got 1 in the bank. She has 1 more rope climb, and she is our current leader. A big jump. You want to cover as much ground as you can on the jump up. And there's her second rope climb. She is still our leader. Sprints across the floor.
She has had all top 10 finishes this weekend. 8th place was the farthest down she hit. We are looking to see if she can take a second win in this event today.
This is her second set, or her second round of squat cleans. She has 2 completed, and she has 2 left. Then she has to advance the bar down that mat. All right, Sarah Hopping in the yellow shirt in first place. And she's trying to build and establish that lead. She advances the weight. She is starting to outdistance all of the other competitors. She shakes out her arms as she runs across because she knows she's going to be pulling hard on that rope. She doesn't want those shoulders and arms to fail her because they've been getting a beating over the last 2.5 days.
Sarah has pulled ahead here and got quite a bit of a lead. We are not surprised at that. She has been a competitive Olympic weightlifter, so she's going to maintain the oxygen in her lungs, and she's going to stay ahead.
In fact, she was 3rd at the 08 Olympic trials in the hammer throw. So not only is she a weightlifter, but she throws a pretty mean hammer. And another sprint across the field. She is on her 3rd round. She has to do 4 rounds, so she's over halfway on this workout. She is ahead of the world record pace at this point. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet has a blazing fast time of 4 minutes and 8 seconds, but Holly is on track to beat that. There's Alessandra Pacelli as she sprints across the field. And Sarah Hopping, our current leader, her 3rd round of squat cleans. That's 135 pounds. She just completed her 4th rep. She only has 1 round left. So 2 rope climbs and 4 squat cleans. She will be done with this workout.
I am so happy to see her running across the field. She wants the world record. She wants the 1st place, and she's got it in her to do it.
In 2012, she placed 6th at the regionals. The year before that, she had a broken elbow and could not compete. There's Annie Sakamoto, a crowd favorite. And people love to see her get after it. This is her rope climb on her 3rd round. That was her 2nd rope climb, so she sprints across the field. Sarah Hopping as she's closing in on her very last rope climb. 1 final sprint, 4 final squat cleans at 135 pounds, and she could break the record. Well, she's not going to do it because there's the world record time. We're at 4 minutes and 11 seconds into this workout, a 10-minute time cap. We'll see if she can touch and go on the squat cleans. Alessandra Pacelli in the white shirt. She is on her final round of squat cleans. Sarah Hopping, we are 4 minutes and 30 seconds into the workout. And the crowd is really getting into it, and she finishes.
Yes, Sarah, 2
unofficial
first places.
time. 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and that is definitely going to help her out in the overall race. An incredible job. Alessandra Pacelli finishes 4 minutes and 51 seconds, unofficial time. Oh, I take it back. I'm sorry, she is not done yet. No, that was her.
It was Margot Alvarez that has
They were
finished.
wearing the same top, sorry.
Which means Margot's going to jump into that 4th place.
Now Alessandra Pacelli finishes in 3rd place. Got mixed up. They were wearing the same top. 5 minutes and 15 seconds into the workout.
What a phenomenal showing this weekend by Sarah Hopping, getting 1st place in this event. In no events did she get less than 8th place. So impressive.
Annie Sakamoto, as she's staring down that rope, needs a big jump, several quick pulls to reach the top, and she came into this event and she needed a strong performance here, but that weight is heavy for her. at 135 pounds, but it's not heavy for that young lady as Katie Hogan finishes with an unofficial time of 5 minutes and 52 seconds.
Annie Sakamoto is only 2 points giving her into that second place. She could be in trouble here, so we got to keep an eye on who's finishing in front.
K-Lane 5, Ashley Caraveau finishes. She's done with her competition for the weekend. Now it's all on the shoulders of this young lady, Annie Sakamoto. This is her last round of 4 squat cleans, 135 pounds. Fierce look of determination on her face, forgetting about all of the pain, pushing through, phenomenal. And she is a warrior at heart. What a fun event as she steps on the mat. Unofficial time, 6 minutes and 37 seconds. Wow, we knew it would be fast.
It was fast.
And Sarah hopping. Once she hit that first round of squat cleans, she was off to the races. It was really her Olympic lifting with that squat clean that secured that win for her. And I love it that the other ladies are down there with Courtney Walker trying to cheer her on as she closes in on her final few lifts.
We don't know exactly how the points are going to play out, but we know that that finish for Annie could put her in some trouble. So we're going to have to go ahead and look at the leaderboard to find out whether or not that happened.
Okay, a 10-minute time cap. We're at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. And Courtney Walker gets a no rep, and at this point in the workout, that's got to be hard mentally when you see that judge throw his hands out and say no rep. So she's going to take 1 second, regroup. Right now, the core is shot, the body is shot, the legs are shot. All of those reps and exercises over the weekend adding up. Now she's got 3. She only has 1 left. She has 2 minutes left in the workout. I love that all of the competitors are over there cheering Courtney on. As she bounces out of the bottom and steps on the mat, unofficial time 8 minutes and 8 seconds. We're going to see how the final standings shake up. And wow, what an exciting race.
The only thing we know after watching that event is that we have our leader, Alessandra. We're not exactly sure how that affected Annie, whether or not she's going to be able to go to California and compete with the fittest, and Ashley as well.
And a big smile on Sarah Hopping's face. There's Alessandra Pacelli, who it looks like with this performance now, she will have cemented her spot to go to the games. And that will be her first trip to Carson, California. So that is exciting on her part. Sarah Hopping did all she could do by winning this event. We don't know yet what the points are or where they stack up, but giving a big high five to Annie Sakamoto.
Sarah had a phenomenal weekend. Regardless of where the leaderboard goes, she showed she's a well-rounded athlete, not doing any event less than 8th place all weekend long. We are going to see Sarah in the future.
And all of the ladies standing together. Margot Alvarez right next to training partner Alessandra Pacelli. And let's go to the competition floor. Angel is standing by with our heat winner now.
Hey guys, we're here with Sarah Hopping. Sarah, we spoke about 20 minutes before this event here. You said it favors you. Looks like it did. Tell us how.
I love jumping, I love rope climbs, I'm tall. I love cleans, I love running, so if you're going to put together a workout that I would really like, this would be it.
This kind of shakes up the leaderboard just a bit. They're still doing some juggling with numbers in there. You're so close. Tell us about this weekend and how it came to this point with your competition.
I just feel like every moment I was out here, I was doing the best I could, and I don't know if I was prepared enough, but I know that I gave it everything I had in the years leading up to this and today. So if I don't make it, there's nothing more I could have done, and if I do, that'll be an incredible shock.
Sarah Hopping, thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of the training, rest of the weekend. We'll see you. All right. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Angel. That concludes a very fierce women's competition at the Northern California Regional. Don't go anywhere. The men are next. Now back to Rory in the studio.
We don't even know who won. We don't know who won. What an amazing performance by Sarah Hopping.
What the hell just happened, right? I've been watching Annie Sakamoto, work out for years in videos, and she can't climb a rope. At least she can't today. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that surprised me. And watching her just power through the cleans, was not expecting it to be the rope climb.
No.
I mean, Sarah Hopping, though, we talked about that with Hogan in the South Central doing everything they needed to do. She did everything she needed to do, and I have no idea how it's going to play out.
Well, we're going to take a short break now while they do sort out the overall leaderboard for the women's competition in Northern California. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. The Update Show continues after this short break.
I know my body, and my body knows what it wants. I want to stay healthy, so I take vitamin C. Ultrient C delivers high-performance vitamin C in a powerful new way. Because Ultrient C is pure vitamin C right where my body needs it most. My body wants to deliver all of my strength, all of my drive, all of my focus, all of my heart.
A healthy lifestyle begins with Ultrient. Order now and save at Ultrient.com.
So we leave for the break, and we're thinking, who's it going to be, Sarah Hopping or Annie Sakamoto? Where it's neither of them. When the dust settles, it's actually Margot Alvarez who snatched that third spot. I don't know what to think.
That was one of the most exciting heats I've seen in a while.
Yeah, but I couldn't be excited until it was over because I didn't know what was happening.
I know, but leading up to this, we're talking about NorCal women and who's going to go, who's the top three going to go. Like, there are people I shifted around, but Sakamoto was always in the list, whether first, second, or third. The fact that she's not going, I can't even wrap my head around. I want to figure out what the deal was.
Yeah, but again, looking at the course of the 3 days, Margot Alvarez, she started off with the 7th, 8th, and 14th. The last 3 events for her, 3rd, 3rd, and 2nd. So she just had this come from behind rise to the top.
But as well as she did, Sakamoto imploded. That's what I didn't see that bad on event 7.
I never would have guessed her climbing
Hopping
the rope
brings
like
it into a tie with Sakamoto at the end. Yeah, it's mind-numbing. I'm interested to catch up with Annie. But right now, we're going to go to the Sonoma County Fairgrounds to catch up with the 3 women who will be headed south this summer to go to the CrossFit Games. Live from JJ and Cherie Chan at the venue.
Nice and tight. Thank you.
Thanks, Rory. Let's go down to the competition floor. Angel is standing by with our 3 women that have qualified to compete at the Reebok CrossFit Games this summer.
Hey guys, it's safe to say that we are here with the 3 fittest women in Northern California for this region. We're starting with Margot Alvarez. Margot, let's be honest, you flew right under the radar this weekend, and then here you are in the top 3 going to Carson.
I'm very excited. I'm very ecstatic. I've worked hard for this, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited. I'm full of emotion, but I'm happy to be here with my teammate, my boyfriend, my family, my friends. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. I couldn't be happier.
Awesome, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Ashley Caribou. Everyone knows the story. This is the end of the story, the icing on the cake. You're going to Carson as well.
I can't believe it. I'm speechless. I thought I've been emotional all weekend and trying to hold back tears, and now there are no tears. I'm just overwhelmed and speechless. I can't believe it.
Walk us through this week, and what did it take for you to get to this level, to go to Carson, competing in the CrossFit Games?
Just to stay in my game and know I've trained super hard for this, and just believed in myself, because just anything can happen in this field of women is just phenomenal.
Congratulations to you, Ashley.
Thank you.
And Alessandra Pacelli, you said this last event, even though you were at the top, you had to empty the tank and leave everything on the floor, and you did that.
Yes, I definitely did, and so happy to be done. So.
And it looks like you're going to Southern California in 2 months with your training partner.
Yes, definitely very excited and really looking forward to some fun times.
Ladies, congratulations to all of you. Gentlemen, back to you.
All right, thank you, Angel. Congratulations to those ladies. That concludes day 3 for the women's competition. They're done. They can get an ice bath and be done. Now back to the studio with Rory.
Oh, I mean, I can't wrap my head around it. Can't wrap my head around what played out, especially with Annie Sakamoto and the rope climb.
I mean, I could talk about Sakamoto for the next 20 minutes. Again, I can't believe that Nasty Girls, one of the original videos that, all the old school CrossFitters know about, Annie Sakamoto's in that video from like 6 years ago doing strict muscle-ups, sets of 7, 6 or 7 years ago. Now, today, struggles with a rope climb in which you can use your feet. I want to have an interview with Annie and just ask her what happened, because I can't get my head around it.
Yeah. We talked about this before, about the rope climb just kind of lingering out there. You even set us up at the very beginning here.
Yeah,
say,
nice setup.
Would the rope climb affect anybody all the way down the line? And I mean,
No,
you look at the
come on.
order of these regional workouts, I can't get over the fact that come to day 3, it's almost as if it's the clean slate for every region.
And that's why we have to have all these tests. That's why there's 7 events. That's why it's 3 days long. That's why there's heavyweight, lightweight, body weight movements. I mean, you have to expose these athletes, because you might just find on the last day when you're ready to wrap it up, something changes.
Yeah, and I was hoping at one point that event 6 was the finishing event, but this one's perfect too. It knocks people off, and I think we're going to see equal drama in the men's division. We have Jason Khalipa, who's running away with it, but his qualification opens up a 4th spot, and the battle for that 4th spot is very, very dramatic between 3 men, really. Let's take a look at the action from the first 5 events and how we got to where we are now.
The men's competition in North was dominated by one man. Jason Khalipa didn't just win the region, he hit world records along the way. Last year, the dominated the region, finishing 1st or 2nd in 5 of the 6 events. The 2013 was a whole new year with a bolstered men's field. Khalipa got his win right away with a win and a world record in event A, Jackie. His time of 5:04 was 6 seconds faster than the previous one. Neil Maddox finished event 1 in an unfamiliar 3rd place. The 2 men went on to dominate event 2. Both got 3 successful lifts at 295 pounds, tying for 1st. As day 1 ended, Buddy Hitchcock made a name for himself with his 1st regional win, backing 439 in the burpee muscle-ups. But Jason Khalipa was only 8 seconds back in 2nd, remaining the overall lead. Day 2 in NorCal turned out to be just like day 1. Jason Khalipa not only won event 4, he set another world record in the process, beating Josh Bridges' 1-week-old standard by 46 seconds. Khalipa's time of 2015 solidified his overall lead in the region. In afternoon's event 5, Khalipa's training partner, Garrett Fisher, got his first win of the competition with a time of 4:01. Khalipa himself finished just 3 seconds faster. Heading into the final day of competition, Jason Khalipa has a stranglehold on 1st. Maddox and Fisher are tied for the next 2 spots, and Patrick Barber sits in 4th.
What's in the water there in NorCal? I mean, what's weird to me, I was watching these events and I was like, is this what it's like in a regular training session there? Just a day, workout of the day?
Those guys, I mean, occupying the top 5 or 10, I mean, we've got Khalipa, Maddox throws down with those boys, Pat Barber's there, Garrett Fisher's there. I mean, all those guys work out together, so you can't say it's a coincidence. Something's happening, and I'll point to one thing. It's not their programming. It's not this. It's not that. It is their bone-shattering intensity that they bring every day. We talked to Cleep on the phone. He goes, I'll tell you the key, bro, if you want to know it. It ain't some special program. You got to go to the gym and hurt yourself so bad mentally and physically you don't want to go back, and then you go back 3 more times that day and do the same thing. And it's like,
but I think this is
well,
also
there you
kind
go.
of something that we see in sport a lot, whether it's in swimming or in track and field or even any individual sport. Very rarely do we see an athlete that just simply trains completely on their own. There are little hubs throughout the country where athletes get together, that train for track and field events together because why? They get a better level of intensity, they have a little bit more fun, they stay a little bit more focused when they're in that environment rather than being off on their own.
They're building a hub out there.
And we'll take one more second to celebrate Jason Khalipa again. Just like last year in the regional, first or second on every single event so far. 2 world records.
2 world records.
And I think a third, I think he's got his eye on a third. I think that's where he's going with event 7.
He's got potential for sure, and he's done it at least a couple times in training. I'm sure he scanned the leaderboard today and figured out, all right, well, I'm 2 seconds off pace. I mean, he's gunning for the world records. What he's doing, he wants to battle Rich at the games.
Sure, and so we knew that Pat Barber needed to make a move. We thought that it might happen in event 6. Let's take a look at how that action played out earlier today.
This event was so much fun, right? I mean, Pat Barber needed to make a good move, and we said yesterday, this plays very well to Barber's strengths. He should do great.
Yeah, he went out quite well in the handstand push-ups. Really, he got to that bar first, but then what happened is we saw him fall behind slowly, not only just one athlete, but all the entire field through the course of those 30 shoulder to overhead.
And you saw Jason get to that fat bar at last out of his crew. First off on the lunges.
Yeah, he was there 10 reps behind Barber, wound up passing him, and just took off on the lunges like he's carrying bags of groceries.
And this is a great example where you want your weaknesses to make you as little weak as possible, and then let your strengths just carry you through the workout.
But super impressive was Marcus Philly. He knew he needed a big event 6 if he wanted to make a move on Barber, and he took second. He came through big time.
Yeah, brings himself on the overall leaderboard within 1 point of Barber after this event. So now, again, with the battle for 4th place, it's going to come down to those 2 gentlemen. You can see there, Garrett Fisher, Neil Maddox at 25 and 26 points respectively. Marcus Philly and Pat Barber just separated by 1 point entering this final event. And maybe a special mention to Gabe Subry. He's 10 points back in 4th.
Yeah, this is what Gabe does every year, right? Every year, again, coming in, I'm like, I know he's a hard dude, trains well, but I just don't quite put him near the end, and he just battles back and back, and he's Mr. Consistent. Here he is again.
Let's say that these 2 gentlemen, Marcus Philly and Pat Barber, do tie. What happens?
So if we look at the rule book for the CrossFit Games and the regionals, if they tie, it goes to, or that spot would go to the athlete that has the highest single finish. So Marcus currently has 2 second places. So if he and Pat tie for this with total points, so they would both end up with 54 points, let's say, it would go to Marcus Philly. So really for Pat to win, he has to beat Marcus by 2 points, by 2 places in this workout.
And just for a refresher, Khalipa being a previous champion, and it looks like he's going to occupy the 1st spot. 1, 2, 3, and 4 from NorCal will go forward to the games.
And there's nothing, I mean, there's no doubt that across the board, this event is going to be just neck and neck throughout it. So, I mean, really, we could see the same thing play out as the women, where we don't know who's going and who's not until we kind of shuffle the numbers a little bit.
But it does come down to those 2 men, separated by 1 point. It's unlikely to think that Gabe Subry is going to jump in. It's either Philly or Barber going. Barber's head doesn't look to be in the game for me.
But it was unlikely that we thought Annie wouldn't make it,
No
so
doubt
who knows
about
what's
it.
going to happen.
No doubt about it.
And Barber, event 6 might be in his head. He needs to turn that around for 7.
Yeah, I think we should go watch the action.
Okay,
let's do it.
The final event from Northern California for the men is kicking off in just a few moments. Let's shoot it live over to the Sonoma County Fairgrounds, where Justin Judkins and Cherie Chan have the live call.
Thanks, Rory. The sun is shining. It is hot, but we do have a good stiff breeze blowing to cool the athletes down here at the Sonoma County Fairgrounds. This is the last heat of the last event for the men's competition. We're talking about event number 7, rope climbs and squat cleans. Out of all 7 events at this competition, this is the one that counts the most. For some of these men, it is their final chance at snatching one of those precious qualifying spots to compete at the games this summer. The fourth position is not locked up, however. Neil, Jason, Garrett, looks like they're not going to move down the leaderboard unless they have a really, really bad showing here. But Cherie, tell us, what is happening with Marcus and Pat right now?
Right now, the story on this particular event is going to be who takes that fourth place. And I think we could even throw Gabe Soubre in there. So it's whether or not our Pat Barber, who can come from behind and win this to get that fourth spot, or is it going to be newcomer Marcus Philly? Is he going to step out of NorCal and into that world stage? But what we saw on women's heat, it could also be Gabe Soubre if he comes ahead with a first and the other two guys fall drastically behind. So who knows who's going to that world stage.
And we had a huge shakeup with the women's competition. Now this is a sprint. They've got to do a lot of work in a short period of time. I think that ever since the 2010 games, when Rich Froning just kind of faltered on that rope, ever since then, the smartest athletes, they've been practicing rope climbs. All right, let's go meet the athletes now. We have some of the biggest names in CrossFit in this heat. Going to lane number 12. Currently in 12th place is Anthony Malta for CrossFit ASAP in Dixon, California. It's his first time competing at a regional competition. In lane number 1, currently in 11th place, Sean Egan, CrossFit LifeWorks in San Jose, California. He took 6th at last year's regional. In lane number 11, currently sits 10th place, Buddy Hitchcock, CrossFit Excel from Manteca, California. In lane number 2, currently sitting in 9th place is Will Zerlang from Humboldt CrossFit in Eureka, California. 3rd year competing in CrossFit competitions. In lane number 10, currently in 8th place, Ben Alderman. Trains at CrossFit Gold in Sacramento, California, placed 9th at last year's regional. In lane number 3, currently in 7th place, Nick Zambruno. Trains at CrossFit Oakdale in Clovis, California. In lane number 9, currently in 6th place, Gabe Soubre. Trains and is the owner of CrossFit 209 Sport in Stockton, California. He's a 3-time Games competitor. In lane number 4, currently in 5th place, Pat Barber. Trains at NorCal CrossFit in San Jose and did place 4th at the 08 CrossFit Games. In lane number 8, currently in 4th place, Marcus Philly. Trains at CrossFit Mill Valley in Mill Valley, California. And he's been to the games 2 times before, but it was on a team. In 5th place, in lane number 5, currently in 3rd place, Garrett Fisher. Trains at NorCal CrossFit in San Jose, California. He won event number 5 here at this regional. In lane number 7 and currently in 2nd place, Neil Maddox. Trains at CrossFit Extreme Athletics in San Jose, California. 3 times Games competitor. And in lane number 6, currently in 1st place, Jason Kalipa. NorCal CrossFit in San Jose, California is where he trains. He was the Games champion in 2008. Not only that, but he's crushed the competition here. He's taken a 1st place in event number 1, 2, 4, and 6. Let's describe what these athletes will be facing when they hear 3, 2, 1, go. At the go, they will do 4 rounds for time, 2 15-foot rope climbs. They'll sprint across the competition floor, it's 100 feet, complete 4 squat cleans at 225 pounds. There's a 10-minute time cap. Now, the world record time was set by Spencer Hendel last week, 4 minutes and 11 seconds.
3, 2, 1,
there we go. Event number 7, final heat for the men's competition is underway. The time to beat on the day, 5 minutes, 22 seconds from Miles Lewis.
They are off on a sprint, and if you are Pat Barber or Marcus Philly, you want to win this event to clinch your ticket to the games.
All right, several athletes jumping on the bar at the same time. That's 225 pounds. They've got to do 4 squat cleans and then another sprint across the floor after they advance that weight down the mat. So Jason Khalifa pretty much going touch and go on that 225-pound squat clean. All of the men on their first set of squat cleans, and they start to advance almost virtually at the same time. It's as if they know how much is resting on their performance of this event.
All 5 of the top leaders are out first. Pat's going to have to take a bigger lead than that to beat out Mark, but Marcus is continuing to look over his left shoulder at Pat and see where he is.
These guys are going to make it a horse race, and it is going to be close. 2 rope climbs. This is their second round of rope climbs. And
if
not
you
wasting
are
any
Pat,
seconds.
you have to win this race. And Marcus is just slightly in front of him right now.
Garrett Fisher reaches the bar first. There's a good look at Jason Khalifa as he starts in on his second round of squat cleans, 225 pounds. Pat Barber, no shirt, in the black shorts. And right behind him is Garrett Fisher in the black shirt and black shorts. Those are the guys to keep an eye on. Once they clean that bar, they've got to advance it to the next station.
Again, they're all at the same pace, and Pat's going to have to pick it up and get 2 places in front of Marcus if he wants to go to the games in July.
Garrett Fisher starts in on his rope climbs. He's got to do 2 rope climbs. Right behind him is Jason Khalifa in the yellow shirt.
Marcus got on the rope first, and he keeps looking over at Pat to see where he is.
We're going to see who takes a break and who doesn't. It's those costly seconds in the transitions between different exercises that can be the difference. And Jason and Marcus Philly and Garrett Fisher all crossing the competition floor at the same time.
Pat has got to run if he wants to go out there. He's got to pick up the pace and get in front of Marcus.
No hesitation. Once they reach that bar, they're going rep for rep with Garrett Fisher and Jason Khalifa. Pat is not far behind. Look at how fast. Oh, he just failed.
He just missed a rep that it's going to
so costly.
Cost him. He's going to lose ground by doing that. He's going to have Marcus also have a fail in order to catch up.
Jason and Garrett advance their bar. This will be their 4th round of rope climbs. Jason has taken the lead from Garrett on that last round.
Neil needs to finish either right behind Garrett or in front of to hang on to his 2nd place. So if he wants to hang on to 2nd place, he's going to have to pick up his pace as well.
Garrett Fisher doing exactly what he needs to do to be able to secure his spot to go to the CrossFit Games this summer.
Marcus is 1 rope climb in front of Pat right now.
And Jason finishes his last round of rope climbs, now approaching the bar for his final set of 4. 225 pounds on the bar. He's treating it as if it's nothing, especially after all he's done this weekend. There's Marcus Philly, who needs a fast performance on this workout.
And he knows it because he is looking around the field at every rep to see where Pat is and where those close competitors are.
A failed rep from Garrett.
That could help
Our
Neil.
08 Games champion, Jason Khalifa, not failing on any reps so far. And he's going to stand up and step on the mat. 4 minutes, 16 seconds, just 5 seconds off of that world record time set by Spencer Hendel.
This is what Pat needs to do right now. Marcus is fumbling around a little bit. If Pat can link them all, oh, but he drops and fails
Marcus
at that
is able
midline.
to stand up with it. Neil Maddox is finished. Marcus finishes.
Marcus is going to California.
Wow. What a fun, exciting race. I don't know if they were thinking it was too much fun, but Marcus has impressed me the entire weekend, Cherie.
Marcus knew what he needed to do. He was looking around, and by God, but he did it!
He seals the deal. He came in, attacked this workout with a vengeance, and just steadily chipped away at that.
He broke up that NorCal party. He said, I want to come along.
And Gabe Subri, not able to put it together and do what he needed to do to make a return trip to the CrossFit Games. Wow, what a race. Marcus Philly has impressed me the entire weekend. So Jason Khalipa finishes first, traded the lead back and forth with Garrett Fisher, but once he got past round 2, it was really Jason in the lead the entire time, and he stayed there. Finished with an unofficial time of 4 minutes and 16 seconds. He will win this event, have the fastest time of the day, but he won't break that world record. I know as a past Games champion, he wanted to do that this weekend. He wanted to break world records.
He was close to this one.
He was really close.
Almost had another one in the bank. And we knew this heat was going to be fast and furious.
And now he hardly takes any time. And what does he do? He goes over and starts cheering other competitors on. People that he's been battling it out with for 3 days, and here he is. He's letting the coaching part of him take over from the competitive part of him, and he's cheering these other guys on, coaching them through these last reps.
Get a shot of Neil and Pat.
Wow, you can see the fatigue set in. You can see what the last 3 days of competition has done to these guys. Just having the hardest time standing up with it. Sean Egan finishes, unofficial time, 6 minutes and 42 seconds. It's just that midline is shot. The core strength is gone after all of these guys have gone through.
Well, you know, they've been through a lot.
Zerling just struggling with those cleans.
Did you see
Get
that?
some final words of encouragement.
You see that right leg just fell right in. He's got to get another clean.
He's got time. I mean, there's a 10-minute time cap where it's 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Will Zerling.
Big deal to finish in the top 10. This right here, he's worried about places. How high is he going to finish in this region?
And he is able to stand up with it. And Will Zerling will finish his regional with his unofficial time, 7 minutes and 29 seconds. Wow, talk about hard, talk about grit, and just grinding it out through the pain.
It was the race that we expected to see. There you have the NorCal Bear and the young buck, Garrett. And Jason got first and second. And Marcus really stole the show. He's going to California to compete with the world's fittest.
And Marcus earlier said that it was the hair. It's Samson's strength, and maybe it proved to be true. Neil Maddox, Jason Khalipa, Garrett Fisher.
I want to know what he's saying.
Competition is over. I do too. Get a mic on that guy. There's Marcus Philly.
That's right, Neil. We're with you, buddy.
Whatever you said, man, I agree.
We are with you. Once again, back to the games for that gentleman.
Jason won the games in 08. Would love nothing more than to stand on the podium at the very top one more time.
And you know that gentleman there, Neil, is hungry once he gets back to those games.
Garrett Fisher and Marcus, man, they came in and just did a job this weekend. And it really did come down to this final heat, how they performed here. A lot of action happened in a really short time, Cherie.
We expected it to be fast and furious. These athletes are tired. They were full of adrenaline, and there is Jason Khalipa congratulating Marcus for getting to the big show.
All right, and let's go back to Rory in the studio.
Oh, enjoy your little dose of adrenaline. That's the most competitive men's heat that I think that I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, and what really stood out to me across the board is one, just like how competitive the field was, but for an event that's so quick, taking 4 or 5 minutes, all the athletes across the board took the time to set their hands on the rope climb. They were very poised the entire time. You didn't see them fall apart. I mean, it took a lot for that to happen across the board.
Is it just me? I mean, this is what we hope for, right? With the live event streamed to the world, drama and excitement. I think everyone has had some sort of little hiccup you couldn't predict. Like, it's so exciting. It's awesome.
It's almost like it's a sport.
Exactly.
It's
almost,
really fun
right?
to watch. Let's head back out to Sonoma County Fairgrounds. Let's head to, we got a short commercial break, actually. We'll be back shortly to talk to our winners who are heading down to Southern California in July. Update show returns after this.
Vale.
Great job on those 400s today, of course. Cheers, well done on the lifted. Shocker. You want to settle this? Come on then. Let's go. Come on, Venezuela, put your back into it. I am. Speak American. It's English, you damn bastard. I will smack you so God help me. Gonna catch his best? Yeah?
The same way that CrossFit is Road Fitness gear has made a gym owner's life that much better with CrossFit. That's the mindset quality.
So Kalipa, Maddox, Fisher, amazing. But that battle for 4th place was a nail-biter. Came down to Pat Barber, Marcus Philly. Talk me through it.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody could have really predicted that the moon and the stars would have all aligned to bring us to that moment in Event 7. And we saw a couple things that played out in the workout. They went out the gates, both Philly and Barber, at about the same pace, running across the field, running with the rest of the field. And then really Philly just pulled away in my mind because he was quicker onto the rope and he didn't have any setbacks on the cleans.
And you saw while they were running back and forth from the barbell down to the rope, you would see, Marcus shoot a glance over, whereas Barber's looking at Marcus. I mean, what a cool race, even when they're on the rope, am I ahead of you, am I behind you? And they both had one kind of big stumble, or, Pat had at least one fail on the squat clean, which is going to cost you seconds there, and in such a tight race, we can't speculate, but that could have really made a significant difference on whether or not he went to the games.
Did you see the joy of Marcus Philly with his support team
there
when
he
he's done?
too. I mean, he had no idea. I mean, going in, I think on day 3 that could really happen.
I want to know what that feels like. That guy looked like the happiest human being in the world at that moment, just beaming with excitement, and he's probably going to be stoked for the next week at least.
Really, we'll have a chance to catch up here shortly when we go back to Sonoma County Fairgrounds. But first, let's catch up on the team leaderboard in NorCal. After 5 events, here's what it looked like. Team 808 had a dominating lead, 9 points to Rockland's 10, and Diablo CrossFit and Neho entering the final day had just 1 point behind Rockland. Let's take a look at how those events shook out. So here's today, Team 808 coming in as the winners. they were off to a strong start on event number 6.
Old push press overhead there. Don't need to jerk the bar overhead.
Yeah, and they were the first. They had a good lead, but they struggled a little bit during the lunges, and that opens it up for Team Diablo, who takes an advantage and passes 808 on the lunges. There's Diablo.
And then Diablo crosses the finish line with a time of 9:26.
So they take the win in that event, and Diablo has been a strong team traditionally, obviously, and this helped their case as well for going back to the games. They had Team 808, the female, had to have help getting the bar to her shoulder, or she helped getting the bar to the shoulders at the.
I mean, it wasn't designed as a team lift, but if it works out that way, it's all right.
Why not?
Teamwork is dream work. So again, we move on to event 7, Team 808, a good start with the male team member. He was actually eventually the first one to cross the finish line.
And this was another event that every single team member had to play, and up until the very end, we still saw people moving around the leaderboard because you could not hide in this event.
Yep, so 808 takes it, but Team Diablo then follows them, crosses in second place with a time of 15:53, and finishes out the leaderboard there with the sprint to the finish.
Yep, so Diablo and Neho CrossFit going back to the games. CrossFit 808 after missing last year, going back to the games as well. And Rockland CrossFit will be that third qualifying team. Unfortunately, after yesterday, CrossFit Santa Cruz couldn't make up the gap that they lost in the deadlift box jump.
And that stings, again, because some of our buddies at work here are on that team. But first place with 808, it never hurts to have a former Games individual competitor like Elise Umeda on your team. You know, it's gonna help your chances out.
Definitely. I mean, and we'll see that more and more where you have former Games athletes or athletes that don't make it through regional, maybe take 4th and then are added to a team. So the teams, we can't predict really how they're going to go into Carson this year.
Yeah, pick up some strong competitors there. I love that last team event where you're depending on the weakness of your weakest link really determines how successful you are. Right now, we do have the leaders. You guys want to hear from Marcus Philly, and we will. We're headed back live to the Sonoma County Fairgrounds where Justin Judkins and Cherie Chan are standing by.
Thanks, Rory. Let's go to the competition floor. Angel is standing by with our 4 men that have qualified for the CrossFit Games.
Hey, Justin, we're here with the fittest of Northern California. Some familiar faces, but who's the new guy? Marcus Philly. You were a little hesitant to compete as an individual of TJ's Gym. You did it this year. Are you surprised you're in this spot?
I'm grateful that I'm in this spot. Surprised? No. I wanted to be here at the end of the weekend. I had faith and confidence I could do it. And honestly, just grateful to be up here with these gentlemen.
You said you put in a ton of hard work, and you said this is what shows that pays off. It paid off here.
Yeah, it definitely paid off. You know, first time doing this as an individual, the work amount, the workload, the dedication this year was, you know, miles ahead of where it has been in the past, and it did pay off.
Congratulations to you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Garrett Fisher, we spoke last week, man. You said that these two, Jason and Neil, have taught you something, and it's hard work.
Yeah.
And it looked like this weekend you put in some hard work and it paid off.
Yeah, one thing I've learned, there's no substitute for hard work. I mean, since last year, I worked my butt off and it paid off.
Is it a little surreal to feel that you're going to the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, definitely surreal. I'm just honored to be here right now. It was great.
Congratulations, man. Neil Maddox, kind of flying under the radar this week, and we're trying to catch you. Has this event this weekend been any different for you from past regionals and games?
This whole weekend experience has been different. This whole year has been different. You know, this weekend I came out here feeling guilty because my mom's in the hospital in the ICU, and I felt guilty that I shouldn't be here. But I got great people around me who showed me a lot of support. I just want to tell my mom, I did it for you. I love you. I was fighting a lot of demons in my head. And I don't have words to explain. You guys haven't seen me because of all the stuff that's been going on, and I don't know what to say. I'm grateful for going to the games, but I just want my mom to be healthy. That's it.
Neil Maddox, I'm sure your mom is a very proud man. You're a true champion, and this whole CrossFit community supports you, I'm sure. Congratulations on making it to the games again.
Thank you.
And Jason Kalipa, Mr. Jason Kalipa, we spoke a little earlier this week. You made it a point to stress that true champions consistently perform well, not just a year or two, but through the years. And that's what you have done, and that's why you're going back to Carson again.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to prove that you're not just a one-off, right? I think the guys that come there and they make it to the games one year and maybe they place well, that's cool, and more power to them. But I think the true champions, the true legends in the sport will be the guys who can consistently get back to the games and consistently do fairly well at the games. And you show me someone who has a body of work like that, and it's just very impressive. Because that just shows they have so many capabilities, so many different times of the year, so many different workouts. I mean, it's amazing. So those are the kind of guys I look up to.
Awesome. Congratulations to you, Jason. Gentlemen, congratulations to you, absolute monsters. Justin, here they are, the fittest men in Northern California. Well, not me, but I'm still standing here. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Angel. And best wishes for Neil's mother. We hope things turn out well there. And we have now established the top 3 women that are going to the CrossFit Games, the top 4 men that are going to the CrossFit Games from the Northern California Regional. The last 7 events were, I hate to use the term epic, but it seemed that way, right, Cherie?
It was epic, and now we know who is in contention from NorCal to go on to be the fittest on earth in July.
They still have a couple months to get ready, and they're going to be training hard. We'll have to check in with them. Well, I guess we won't check in with them. I was thinking we were going to see them again, but we won't. But what an exciting event here, and that will wrap things up for us in Northern California at the Sonoma County Fairgrounds. For Angel, Cherie, I'm Justin. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now. Rory?
Wow, a side of Neil Maddox that I've never seen before. Emotional, and certainly our hearts go out to you and your mother, and hopefully Neil's mom recovers from whatever she's ailing from. But moving on to Jason Khalipa, the other NorCal kid on the top of the leaderboard. What a dominating performance. I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but Jason Khalipa for 2013 champion? Is that what we're thinking?
Go for it.
I mean, it could be. I mean, he's shown no weaknesses thus far, and I mean, he knows probably his #1 deficiency has been running, and I will let the cat out of the bag. He's been working very hard to improve that, so his holes in his game might not exist.
I'm gonna spin it a little bit differently.
Oh, really?
I think that Jason has a fantastic history in workouts where the known and the knowable is presented before him, such as regionals. And when we get to the games and there's those things that kind of get thrown, we enter the true unknown and the unknowable, I think sometimes he can get rattled. Has he moved past that with all the experience that he's had? This could be the year that he does that, but I think that's the difference that we're going to have to see.
Just say baseball toss. Just say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Why you gotta rain on the parade?
And I hope Neil gets his head straight, and everything works out for him, because he's got a lot of potential to do well at the games. Marcus Philly, just based upon his attitude, I'm such a big fan. The guy's beaming from ear to ear. And Garrett Fisher, perfectly coiffed hair, even after the exertion level of Event 7. That can't be understated.
Yeah, amazing competitions in every division there in NorCal. Let's take a look at our overall leaderboard and the qualifying athletes from men, women, and teams. Of course, you just watched Jason Khalipa opens up in the 4th spot, so we've got Neil Maddox, Garrett Fisher, and Marcus Philly joining him. Alessandra Pacelli kills it. Ashley Caribou and Margot Alvarez sneaks in at the end, too. CrossFit 808, Diablo CrossFit Anejo, and Rockland CrossFit will all rep NorCal at the Home Depot Center, which at that point in time will be called the StubHub Center this July.
It's true. And what jumps at me at the leaderboard there? Diablo, strong, right? Individual and team, so awesome affiliate.
Yeah.
So sad but true. That concludes our live coverage, our live events for this regional weekend. However, there's 2 more to cover when we come back. We'll talk Canada East and Australia. Don't go anywhere.
Let me tell you about CrossFit. CrossFit is a lifestyle in which you are prioritizing your health, the ability to do many different things at a high level of intensity. I think it's the absolute best way to help you reach your fitness goals.
For me, it's making me happy.
Fun way to get fit and well modified to the last person and achieve is just as important as the first.
It's this team atmosphere that ends up making you better. That family that you end up building and the energy that you get back from it yourself, That's CrossFit to me.
When you come to a CrossFit gym, everybody knows your name, everybody loves you, and you're a part of something bigger than just getting up there.
CrossFit gave me that something extra that I kind of needed in life.
It's made my life. I love it. It's my passion. It's commitment.
That's good. This is good.
I like the challenge. I compete with myself. I'm healthier. I am stronger.
Even though I was so I was getting discouraged, I felt accountable in my community. I felt accountable in my clients because they were looking to me.
Finding CrossFit and having to work really dang hard for whatever your goal is. Whether it's to compete or just get a grand pull.
I love it because the weekend's different every day. I can come in and I don't know what I'm doing.
Everyone is welcoming. Everyone is cheering you on. They don't let you quit, even if you
This experience, which is emotional, it doesn't always work for some people work out. What's emotional? I mean, it's raw, it's intense, it's incredible, it's freaking awesome.
The NorCal men stake their claim and the affiliate competition heats up. We enter week 3 of the road to the fittest. The elite from Asia, North Central, Northwest, and Southwest take center stage. In South Korea, Daniel Hershey's team leading the men's competition wide open. On 2011 competitor Candace Howe looks to reclaim her title. In the Northwest, Ashley Moe makes her comeback. All 22-year-old Joe Frost improves with age. Kevin Simons and Austin Stack lead the way for the
You talked about this yesterday, dude. Just when you're exhausted from the weekend, just watching these competitors, you see something like this regional promo for next week, and you already can't wait till it comes.
Yeah, that's what's coming our way, right? I mean, so many cool races, but everyone knows my boys perform next week. Chris Spieler working for his 7th trip to the games. I mean, that's unprecedented. How can you not cheer
He's a legend.
for him?
Yeah, I mean, but again, we've talked about it, but the upsets are out there. Where they're going to play out, there's the Southwest women is kind of a little bit wide open. We've got competitors that aren't returning or that are going team. Men, it's a thick leaderboard they're going into with past games competitors. Across the board, it's going to be epic.
Did she say upset and Spieler in the same
Yeah,
sentence?
that's going to make me upset if you mention upset and Spieler. So let's just
not at this desk.
No.
Let's move on. We still got 2 regions to recap. In Africa, Day 3 provided a huge mix-up in the women's competition that we thought might come, but weren't sure, and it did actually play out exactly what we thought in Johannesburg. But
starting off with a sprint, Jackie, the benchmark workout.
David Levy is going to be your athlete at the CrossFit Games. Fantastic showing on the weekend. And then Rika Diedrichs, the leader after 3 events, but the last event not playing out so well for her.
No, and then David Levy, he hung on to that first place spot again after 5 events after day 2.
Start to finish, at least for the first couple of days, looked like David Levy and Rika Diedrichs had no competition, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, Carla Nunes da Costa, after day 2, she was in 2nd place after those 5 events.
David Levy tied for 2nd on event 6, so continued his dominating reign. He didn't finish any worse than 6th in any event.
Oh, Rika, the handstand push-ups. These cost her a trip to the games.
And Carla Nunes, we knew that she had a solid Diane time, powered through the handstand push-ups, and took 1st place in event 6.
David Levy can't be beat. Event number 7, 4th place finish. And again, he will be joining us in Carson in July. Fantastic weekend for David. Actually, before Kalipa just finished, this was the best overall finish for any man in any region. Now, Carla Nunes da Costa. We got a new female athlete from Africa. Love Eureka Diedrichs, but I'm excited to see a new female coming out.
Definitely, and we got Carla's got a great little story.
Yes, I was hoping you were going to tell it.
We caught up with her face. Oh, go ahead on the leaderboard there.
So we got David Levy obviously coming, Carla Nunes-Acosta, and then CrossFit Platinum maintains their hold on first as well. Go ahead with
now
with
that
Carla.
the business is
Yeah,
done,
now
continue.
that we've covered the leaderboard. So Carla puts in the handstand push-ups. She's going to the games. We caught up with her on Facebook, and she had a post, and I have it written down here. It said, Facebook said, random guy on the street says to me, your arms look like a man's.
Always polite.
And she replies, oh, really? Well, they don't look like yours, so does it mean you're a girl?
Hell yeah. I
Can't
mean,
wait to see her in Carson.
Instant fan. Instant. Mail me a shirt if you have one. Instant fan.
That's how we roll in Africa, too. I just wouldn't picture that interaction happening there. But
Yeah,
what
cool.
a brazen man.
Fantastic.
Picked the wrong girl.
Yeah.
So that's the action for Africa. Let's move on now to Canada East. Canada East women first. It's always been the Camille and Michelle show. Played out nicely again on day 3.
Camille's established herself year after year as a Sears competitor, but Michelle took the prize last year, and I'm sure Camille had a fire lit under her butt when she came this year.
Yeah, we saw these women go back and forth over the first 2 days of competition, putting up firsts and seconds on all the events. And then Michelle, a surprising win over CLB in the hundreds workout.
By a long shot.
That Camille bounced right back from.
Yeah, Camille basically, after the hundreds, really was on a mission to just kind of power through the rest of the weekend. Michelle did a good job in the box jump, but again, 30 seconds put her in a 5th place spot to Camille's first in that workout.
But both ladies looking forward to event 6. I mean, former gymnast handstand push-up strong, and we didn't know who was going to take this one.
Yeah, but Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet called that she was going to go unbroken on the handstand push-ups and did. Actually, Michelle broke up her handstand push-ups and just came in, still beat CLB in the event.
Yeah,
and then in the end, 8:08, new world record. Camille locks down that world record time, beating Sam Brake's time from last week, takes the first place.
And she just always seems to have fun, is the trend we've been talking about. The people that are maintaining that lead still got a smile on their face at the end of these events. Michelle, a fantastic showing on the weekend. You got to say, think about the overall picture here. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet has finished in the top 10 in every single game. She continues to get better. And here you've got Michelle Letendre, who's providing a great deal of competition for her. I think this may be Michelle's year to break into the top 10, if not better.
She's always a strong performer. I mean, it's great to be able to chase somebody like that in your region, year after year. But if you're the number 3 or 4 woman up there in Canada East, you just must be like, God, again, these 2 ladies are competing. I mean, you really need to step up and see what's going on.
Yep.
And I think I read a couple things that Michelle had put out that were on the game site. And one thing she mentioned that I thought was interesting is that some of the things that she's good at hadn't been thrown out at the regional. So she might got something,
wow.
Under
Those
her
are her
belt
bad
that we're not
workouts.
really sure. I know.
Well, maybe for that 3rd place woman, maybe now with the marriage to Dave Lipson, we'll see Camille move to San Diego. You never know. And maybe she'll become Camille Lipson, which would make our job easier.
Yeah, or she'll just have 4 last names and we don't know what's going on.
That would make for an epic Southern California regional.
Yeah, very exciting women's competition. Thank you, ladies, for throwing it down. Let's move on now to the men, where we had lots of speculation last night about the fate of Matt Lefebvre. But as Albert Dominic LaRouche dominated the entire competition from start to finish, he was a leader after 3 events on day 1. And then we had, of course, Jean-Michael Rondeau.
2nd place after 3 events, put in a strong performance in the overhead squat, proved that he should be there. But then again, Matt Lefebvre, 3rd place after those 5 events. He's the comeback kid, but put himself in a hole on day 1.
And at least he was very, open about what he needed to work on, and so we were hoping that those events would prove that work had been done and we might see him go forward.
2 from men, 2 from women, and 2 from team, of course, will go to the games. And looks like Lefebvre there actually suffering either a cramp or an injury on the last event, but didn't have what it took to jump into that spot. It was Albert Dominic LaRouche at the end of the weekend and Simon Paquette.
Yeah, and Simon Paquette, we didn't talk about him much this weekend. He took 16th place at the regionals in 2011 and 13th in 2012, and then earned a spot to the games this weekend with a 2nd place finish on a day 3 come from behind.
And really, Matt Lefebvre went 17 and 15 on the final day to drop him out of there. So your people that are going to the games, Albert Dominic LaRouche, Simon Paquette, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, of course, joined by Michelle Letendre, as usual, and then Lucine CrossFit joined at the games as well. So, guys, this is coming up on the end here. Some final thoughts on what you saw this weekend. Catching your breath, as you catch your breath.
Ladies first.
I know. Well, I mean, we saw some of the same themes play out from last week where we really don't know what's going to happen going into day 3, but we also saw, I thought, a little bit of involvement on the strategy of how the workouts played out. Everything from the rope climb to athletes. We didn't really see athletes touch and go on the cleans this week because what we see, it hurt athletes last week. So I'm guessing athletes are paying attention week after week, and we're going to see an evolved workout and regionals again next week.
To steal your thunder a little bit, or I should say add to it, you kind of called this the year of the upset, and I have to think you're 100% correct. We're seeing a lot of previous veterans not make it, a lot of new faces than ever before be in the top 3, shaking up the leaderboards, and day 3 has proven to be some of the most exciting races with the no cuts. Things are shaking up even up to the final heat, so you couldn't ask for anything more. It's only going to get better with Spieler.
No doubt about it. More action to come next week. Week 2 has concluded. That's the end of our show. Thank you all for joining us. Of course, Sean Woodland will be back here next week, so thank you two for having me. It's been actually an amazing pleasure.
Man, it's been great, Rory.
We'll miss the bow tie.
We're out of here, and we'll see you guys next week when Week 3 action kicks off on Friday. Have a fantastic week.